Part 34. Infinity Throne. Author, by Yi Shueshi. Chapter 332. Chapter 332. I wrote 1.4 million words and gave a brief summary. When I think of opening a book, I want to open an unlimited stream. When I can read the infinite stream, I always feel that those sad reincarnations have no feeling of home, which is quite miserable. Hence this book. A book that combines the real world and the infinite world. In fact, up to now, I haven't even revealed the true worldview of the main world where the protagonist lives. I believe many friends can see it as well. The UnlimitedFlow worldview of this book is completely different from the main God space constructed by ZDA. Maybe many people will say that I, a newbie, dare to construct an infinite world by myself. My worldview is simply too far-fetched. Why don't I learn from it? In short, I don't know whether it's floating or not, I just have to bite the bullet and write. This way of writing is far more difficult than I imagined. I also admit that while the real order still exists, it is impossible to push the real atmosphere to be as weird as in the copy. Once the writing fails and the plot collapses, it is considered good, and the 404 will come in minutes. Therefore, many readers feel that there is a sense of separation between the actual plot and the copy. This is something that I find difficult to avoid in the current writing environment, maybe it is because of my lack of ability. In conclusion, I have also begun to lay out a lot of foreshadowing of the protagonist's abilities. Regarding the truth about the existence of the protagonist and Ling Yi, I believe many people have guessed, so I won't spoil it. Regarding the worldview model of world and universe, I hope readers will accept it when it is completely revealed. The protagonist probably won't be able to accept it anyway. The next 2 volumes will quickly advance the plot. Use the copy as a guide to intersperse realistic plots. Just thinking about structuring these stories makes my brain hurt. The difficulty of such complex writing methods is once again beyond my imagination. I have laid a lot of foreshadowing about the worldview in the past, I hope someone can discover it. A little reminder, remember that square and circle? To say it is a summary is actually just a complaint about the difficulty of writing. I hope that in the new year you can continue to support my little pout. Infinity Throne. Author, by Yi Shueshi. Chapter 333. With professionals involved, Yilin is happy to be at ease. After Zhao Yulong learned about the situation, he was also working on the aftermath at the scene. Chimera's body is still buried in the rubble. Fortunately, this is a construction site with complete equipment. Zhao Yulong quickly found the excavator, decisively commandeered it, and secretly dug out Chimera's body. Corpse. Yilin lowered her head silently. I hope Zhao Yulong will not be disappointed. But what does it have to do with him? The mysterious friend took the blame for everything. Zhao Yulong didn't know whether he brought Yu Meng here for official business or for other selfish reasons. After Yu Meng arrived, there was no use for her ability. She could only direct the excavation site, and she looked like a strong businesswoman. Maybe Zhao Yulong is actually a douchebag. Yilin quickly speculated on Zhao Yulong's hidden attributes. Oral, who fainted nearby, was also moved out by the medical team while the excavation work was in progress. Hu Sandeo suddenly transformed, put on his white coat again, and transformed into the leader of the medical team, providing medical assistance to the injured. But when Hu Sandeo was cleaning the little fat man's wounds, the little fat man looked very panicked. Hu Sandeo's hands were shaking like Parkinson's disease. It was strange that Li Erpang didn't panic. But there is no way, there is no one else. Li Erpang could only cry sadly and let Hu Sandeo professionally treat his wounds. Talk about it? Among the many people involved in the operation tonight, it can be said that the little fat man was seriously injured. His 2 hands were corroded by the chimera, and even the bones were exposed. Hu Sandeo kept frowning and didn't know where to start. Cut it, it's all done. Hu Sandao was silent for a long time before sighing and saying this to the little fat man. I'll cut your sister. The worst I can do is spend DP to repair it before the next trial. Li Erpang would definitely not let Hu Sandao use his knife. Finally, Li Erpang's 2 hands were wrapped in thick gauze into 2 rice dumplings. It is estimated that in the next period of time, the little fat man will have difficulty in taking care of himself, let alone masturbating. As for Oralet, according to what Hu Sandao said, it should be the sequelae of depletion of spiritual energy. After practicing for a period of time, there will be no serious problems. Yulin had also experienced depletion of her spiritual power, so she was not surprised by Oulele's experience. A moment of silence. Anyway, people are fine. Tonight, this matter finally comes to an end. But it left countless doubts. What kind of organization has the Dawn sect become? Why does this happen? Who is that mysterious man? Where did this ritual of summoning creatures from other dimensions come from? Why did Sheng Chunro disappear? All kinds of doubts are intertwined, like a messy thread that is difficult to sort out. But the above doubts are all headaches that Zhao Yulong should get rid of. What Yulin was actually more concerned about was that when he was shrouded in the light of the mysterious man, he seemed to have returned to the past and re-experienced scenes that were both familiar and unfamiliar. Speaking of familiarity, those were the experiences of struggling in the Doomsday. As a member of the Order camp, he participated in war after war, survived by luck, and witnessed the death of his friends around him one by one. There was pain, regret, and sadness. Yulin felt like she was experiencing those strong emotions all over again. Called unfamiliar, Yulin didn't understand why there was no presence of Ling Yi in those familiar scenes. Why? Was his memory wrong? Suddenly, Yulin remembered what Molly said when she got to know Molly again. Oh no, she thought about it. To put it simply, it is assumed that all information about the present, past, and future is actually composed of fragment-like signals in a wave band that is not understood by humans, and exists scattered and irregularly in the universe. Under certain special circumstances, human beings will inadvertently receive this kind of information fragments and reorganize them into pictures in their minds. For ordinary people like you, it will form a déjà vu effect. In general, how do you confirm whether you really traveled back to 2121 from 2125, or did you just inadvertently receive information from the future 2125, which had an impact on your now perception, causing your perception of time to be biased? Yulin, who was in a trance, suddenly felt that her eyes were full of flowers. A hoof wrapped like a rice dumpling swung repeatedly in front of Yulin's eyes. Yulin slapped the hoof away and said angrily, "Why are you dazzling me in front of me when you have nothing to do?" The corner of the little fat man's mouth twitched, and he said angrily, "You think I want to shake you off? Don't forget that these babies are the most seriously injured, okay? There are only bones left. Why are you so dazed when you are fine? Are you out of your mind? Lao Zhao is calling you over there." Only then did Yulin notice that she was so lost in thought that she didn't hear the sounds around her. Listening to the noise over there, it seemed that the chimera's body had finally been dug out. Yulin felt a little guilty, but she still walked forward with a calm expression. The little fat man originally wanted to join in the fun, but when he thought about his hands becoming like this, he could only shake his head and sigh, and sat down next to the stone statue of Suzayasu. A few minutes later, Yulin walked up to Zhao Yulong. Zhao Yulong had a strange expression. "Tell me, is this the monster that is more than 10 meters long that you said?" Yulin watched the pulled-out body carefully. What was once a good beast now only has a lion's head, a ragged wing, and 2 legs. And it's still a very complete separation. As for other parts, Zhao Yulong dug around and found no other fragmentary parts. "It's completely rotten," Zhao Yulong frowned. "What on earth is going on? Didn't I say it? That mysterious friend took action to solve the monster. The scene was very chaotic at the time. I didn't have time to watch the process. Zhao Yulong frowned deeper. Seeing that Zhao Yulong seemed to believe it, Yulin pointed at her face seriously and said, "You probably know when I became an apostle. Don't you think that my strength can make this monster like this?" "Well, that makes sense. It seems that it really might be him. Zhao Yulong said subconsciously. Who? Yulin suddenly noticed something was wrong in Zhao Yulong's expression, and he quickly asked. "It's just, why are you asking so quickly?" "It's nothing, nothing. Oh, they're calling me over there. I'll be right back." Zhao Yulong's expression changed slightly. He, wearing a suit and ties, said hello to the air in the distance, said a random nonsense, and ran away, never to return. Yulin looked at Zhao Yulong's hurried away figure, lowered his head, thoughtfully. "It turns out that it's not that they believed what I said, but that there really was such a person who inexplicably matched up with my random nonsense. How is it possible? But why didn't Zhao Yulong say anything? Could it be that there is a deeper secret of the special group involved?" Yulin kept an eye on this matter. Zhao Yulong didn't say anything, but Yulin couldn't help him. Unless Yurin has the ability to read minds. Otherwise, this shameless person would never say it anyway. Never mind. Yulin shook her head and didn't think much about it for the time being. After all, he only knew the truth of this matter. Since Zhao Yulong put the pot on someone's head, Yulin was eager to do so. He just wants to develop quietly now and doesn't want to expose his abilities too much. Keeping a low profile is the way to go. Although only half of the Chimera's body remained, no, a third, no, a quarter. Anyway, there's only a little bit left. But this is a life that does not exist in this world, and it is of great research value. Zhao Yulong immediately thought of keeping this matter completely sealed and gave everyone a hush-hush order. Everything about Chimera has become the highest level secret, and no word can be revealed. Zhao Yulong planned to pack up the remaining parts before dawn and transport them back to the capital. Although they were traveling at a high speed, all that came were lightweight armed helicopters. But if it's taken apart and packed, it's more than enough to transport back to the capital. After all, there aren't many left. There was not much work left to deal with the aftermath. Fortunately, Yulin found a room in the school district where there was no one in the middle of the night. After a detailed search, except for a pair of fleshy palms of the little fat man and Suzayasu who had turned into a stone statue. And there were no other casualties. It is a great blessing among misfortunes that this matter can be handled to the present result. As for the follow-up, whether it's the Shugwang sect's hand, or the Atai City Police's major change, or the remains of the victims in the bust of Buddha, all kinds of things pile up together, which is enough to give Zhao Yulong a headache. When Yulin returned to the little fat man, she found that the little fat man was raising his head in surprise, looking at the high stone statue of Suzayasu, and his whole body was twitching. "Second fatty, thank you." After the Chimera was completely destroyed, Suzayasu, who was turned into a stone statue after looking at the Chimera, finally began to recover. Although Suzayasu is still a stone statue from the neck down. But the stone layer on the surface of her body is gradually peeling off from top to bottom, and it should not take long for it to return to its original state. What's the matter with the little fat man's twitching reaction? This? Sister Su, don't get me wrong, it's not what you think. At that time, was impulsive, careless, inflated, hasty. In short, this was an accident, really an accident. The little fat man, his speech was incoherent, his words were stammering, and he couldn't understand what he meant. Hu Sandeo appeared out of nowhere, chuckled, and said, "Brother Li was very nervous at that time. He blocked Sister Su with his body. When I said you were dead, he also said, 'My wife is not dead yet.' Well, These are Brother Li's exact words. Damn it! Li Erpang's back was instantly wet with cold sweat. After Hu Sandao finished speaking, he waved his hand and turned to leave. Kill a fat man in 10 steps, and leave no trace in 1,000 miles. Hello. No one knows how to break defenses better than him. Fatty, you are so kind. Suzayasu smiled sweetly. What a sin. Li Erpang squatted on the ground, hugging his head and crying. Yulin originally didn't want to disturb the reunion of the long-separated couple, but he remembered something, so he walked over to the little fat man, took out a prop card and stuffed it into Li Erpang's hand. This was given to me by Sister Su before she was petrified. With tears in his eyes, Li Erpang took the card indifferently. It was the revival cross chain. Yulin said again. She was probably thinking that she would use it to save you in case you died. I will give it to you first. It is your husband and wife's joint property anyway. Whether you use it to repair your opponent or use it for other purposes is up to you. Take care of yourself. After Yilin returned the props to their original owners, she patted Li Erpang on the shoulder and moved away from the couple, leaving them some space to be alone. Li Erpang originally wanted to say, husband and wife, your sister. But when he clutched the prop card tightly, he couldn't say the words that were stuck in his throat no matter what. Yilin found a corner and sat down. Because the atmosphere and environment around him at this moment were so similar to the ending of every trial, Yilin actually had the illusion of waiting for her return. Zhao Yulong wiped his sweat with a slightly excited expression and came over to praise him. Well done. Control the impact to a minimum. Although this building is destroyed, as long as there are no casualties, it shouldn't be a big problem to directly report an earthquake. If the existence of this monster is allowed, if ordinary people see it, it will be difficult to explain it. By the way, there is also a car in your name. Yilin reminded. Car. Zhao Yulong's expression was startled and he didn't know why. Boss. Boss. Something's wrong. Something bad is going to happen. At this time, a field worker wearing a helmet and dirty from the excavation work sprinted towards this direction at a speed of 100 meters, shouting as he ran, and his voice came from far away, and he was very panicked. Why are you panicking? You have no psychological quality at all. Zhao Yulong scolded him with a straight face, and then asked, why are you so flustered? The field staff were armed to the point of covering their faces, making it difficult to see their expressions. But he hesitated for a while and didn't know how to explain, so he put the phone in front of Zhao Yulong. It means, I can't say it, and you may not understand it if I say it. You have to see for yourself. On the mobile phone, it is the Atai City Forum. There is a post above. There is a fire symbol next to the post. The number of views has actually reached 1 million levels, and it is increasing rapidly with a frightening trend. In the post is a video. What kind of short video can become so popular? It shouldn't be a little colorful, right? You young people can't do it. You spend all day. Halfway through the sentence, Zhao Yulong, who clicked on the video, suddenly opened his mouth wide, and his mandibular joint clicked, as if he was dislocated. In the video, it's a dark night sky. A fiery red meteor, dragging a long firework, pierced the sky. And behind the meteor, followed a terrifying monster. The beast's shadow spreads its wings, covering the sky and blocking out the sun. Others had weird expressions when they saw the video. Zhao Yulong's mouth seemed like he could fit an egg in without peeling the shell. Yilin quickly raised her head and looked at the sky. Ah, the night is so beautiful. He tried to pretend that it had nothing to do with him. Although I guess I can't hide it in the end. After all, the little fat man and others witnessed the scene of Yilin floating in the air on night dire, and they couldn't fake it. I can hide it for a while. I don't know how much time passed. Zhao Yulong suddenly roared crazily at the medical team. Where are the oral people? Report to the boss, he's still fainting. Find a way to wake this kid up. Ah, this? What if people are like this? Hit him. Woke him up? Hurry up, don't grind. In the end, Oral still didn't wake up. Zhao Yulong has not yet dehumanized him enough to wake up the unconscious Oulele alive. He called the most professional technical team in the capital overnight to erase this matter from the internet. But this kind of spreading speed is not something that Zhao Yulong can erase if he wants. Although when countless people saw this video, their first reaction was a computer-generated image. However, a professional immediately posted a message to clarify that there is no trace of post-processing on this video, it is high definition and uncensored, and it is the real work of experts. The monster-chasing meteor incident caused an uproar in Itai City. It can be called a big earthquake. Some people even enlarged, reproduced, and restored the red meteor, trying to see clearly what the mysterious flying object was. But because Yulin was racing extremely fast at the time and was shrouded in red light, it ended up being nothing. When Olele woke up, it was already the next day. Although Zhao Yulong has blocked all relevant posts on the internet overnight, people who read the posts have deep memories. This weird abnormality cannot be easily forgotten. This incident spread beyond Itai City at a terrifying speed. The next day, the whole country was shocked. Zhao Yulong felt very sad. Why are so many people unable to sleep and browsing the web in the middle of the night? Are you making trouble? Is it because life is too comfortable that you are not interested in working? Are you suffering less severe beatings from society? This generation of netizens is not very good. In the past, for the convenience of handling abnormalities, network areas were deliberately divided into blocks to prevent these abnormalities from propagating too quickly. But this time, it was indeed beyond Zhao Yulong's imagination and terrifyingly fast. In a short period of time, it is estimated that this matter will be difficult to let go. Anyway, the special team, including Zhao Yulong, was extremely busy because of the follow-up to this incident. The next day, Iti Central Hospital. Outside the hospital, police cars were surrounded. However, these are not the original Iti City police officers. Because everyone in the Itai City Police Department, headed by CAO Anbang, was suspected of mental abnormality and was dismissed, placed in custody, and placed under observation. In order to maintain order, Zhao Yulong could only arrange for a group of elites who had just graduated from the Special Warfare Department with innocent backgrounds to parachute to Itai City to fill the vacancies in the Itai City police force. As for Zhao Yulong and Yu Meng, they flew Chimera's mutilated body back to the capital overnight and refrigerated it to prevent it from deteriorating. This will be a precious specimen. Of course, the matter is over, and Yulin doesn't care much about the subsequent handling. Yulin bought a wreath casually. When he stepped into Iti Central Hospital, all the new police officers with childish faces but firm eyes looked at Yulin with due diligence. Although they don't know exactly what happened. But overnight, all the police officers in Litai City were cleared out, and they parachuted in. Just thinking about it, everyone knew that something terrible must have happened in this city. Relevant information on the internet has been completely blocked. But they also learned a lot of rumors from various channels. What kind of red meteor comes to the world? Monsters are crossing the sky. The huge giant of light appears and kills the monsters to pieces. Alien civilization has arrived on Earth. That red meteor is actually a spacecraft of an alien civilization. And so on. The more outrageous the rumor, the more people believe it. After all, there is video and there is truth. The original owner who shot that video is said to have been invited to tea, so it is impossible to find out. I came to see someone. After being stopped, Yulin was not angry and quickly and secretly showed her identity document. Zhao Yulong said hello before leaving. So these people all recognize the IDs of the special group. Although they don't quite know what the meaning behind this certificate is. But to them, this mysterious certificate with a black cover means awesome. Just be awesome and that's it. Under the gaze of young faces and envious eyes, Yilin carried a wreath and came to the special care unit. Unfamiliar nurses were busy in the corridor outside the special ward. Every nurse has a beautiful face, a curvy figure and nimble steps. According to Zhao Yulong, these nurses are temporarily deployed by the Capital Military Region Hospital. Each of them has extraordinary skills and has received certain professional training in firearms, fighting, and counter-reconnaissance. Yilin opened the door. As soon as they entered the door, they heard the quarrel between the little fat man and Ou Lele. Yilin didn't have time to hear the content of the argument. When they opened the door, Li Erpang and Ou Lele fell silent instantly. They looked at Yilin's expression, which was very strange. The corners of his mouth and eyes twitched at the same time, as if he was suffering from some disease. Yilin placed the wreath next to the door and said with a smile, "I see you are in good spirits." Olele suddenly raised his cup and took a sip of water. He pointed at the wreath beside the door, his fingers trembling slightly, but he didn't say anything. Li Erpang stared blankly. "By the way, why are you carrying a wreath for nothing?" Ou Yilin glanced at the brilliantly blooming wreath, then sat down casually in the room and said, "It's nothing. I wanted to come and see you, but I was too embarrassed to be empty-handed." "But what you bought was chrysanthemums. Has a problem?" Li Erpang was very angry and laughed back, "Don't tell me, you don't know that the chrysanthemum wreath is used at the memorial service. Didn't I find other flowers? It doesn't matter, it's the same. Don't worry about such details." After Yilin finished speaking, she quickly and smoothly changed the subject. "Where is Sister Su?" Speaking of Suziya Su, Li Erpang immediately had no objection to the wreath, lowered his head and remained silent. Yilin looked at Ou Lele. Olele finally recovered from the shock of the chrysanthemum wreath, and answered for the sad little fat man, "It's in the women's ward next door." "Is he okay?" "What can happen?" Ou Lele suddenly remembered something, twisted the corner of his mouth and twisted it again. He tried hard to hold back his laughter, but in the end he failed. He laughed like a pig and said while laughing, "Ha ha ha, you don't know, it made me laugh to death last night. Sister Su recovered in the middle of the night and came to this room to find the fat guy. The fat guy was so scared that he lay on the bed and pretended to be dead, motionless. He was so scared that Sister Su was extremely scared. Out of worry, I gave the fat man a standard mouth-to-mouth artificial respiration." Puff. Yilin burst out laughing instantly. "Shut the hum up. Do you believe I will beat you up?" No wonder Li Erpang had such an expression when he heard Sister Su's name. When Ou Lele heard this, she couldn't hide her smile, but she was unhappy in her heart. She spat back, "You want to beat me, Lele, with your hands that can't be cut? Do you believe it or not? I'll hack your phone right away in your name. I will send a 10,000-word true confession to Sister Su, the kind that expresses my desire to get pregnant right where I am." Li Erpang was instantly frightened. "Don't even say it. This kid is definitely capable of doing something like this. And Sister Su is definitely capable of getting pregnant on the spot. This move. It's too cruel." Just thinking about this, Pang Li's scalp felt numb and his hands and feet were cold. Yilin crossed her legs and looked at Li Erpang's hooves wrapped into rice dumplings. "You have no use for that prop." Li Erpang gritted his teeth, shook his head quickly, and said with a grimace, "I can't owe Sister Su anymore." Ou Lele stood aside and said, "What are you afraid of? I promise you my life." Li Erpang. Yilin laughed, but did not break the little entanglement in Li Erpang's heart. "It doesn't matter. Just be careful before the next trial and don't let enemies come to you." Fart. "I, Erpang Li, have always been very righteous and willing to help others. How can I have any enemies? That's right, Yilin thought for a while, then glanced at Oulele, but did not avoid Oulele and said directly, I have a prop that will allow the three of them to form a team in the next trial form to enter. Team up. Li Erpang heard this. The joking expression instantly faded and became very serious. This is business. When talking about business, Li Erpang never joked. This is life and death. When Oulele heard this, he immediately became interested. What? Can we still form a team for the trial? Do I have a role? Yilin shook his head. If the level difference is too big, the difficulty of the trial may rise to the point where it is impossible to pass. For everyone's sake, you'd better not ask. Oulele shut herself down instantly. When Li Erpang raised his head again, his expression was solemn, with no trace of wretchedness at all. What is the benefit? Yilin chuckled. No, to be honest, being able to form a team is the biggest benefit, you know. In the trials of the other world, the relationship between the apostles was too complicated. If three familiar people enter and know the basics, it is equivalent to eliminating two enemies to a certain extent. This is undoubtedly the biggest benefit of the team mode. Of course, even if you form a team, there is still the possibility of being sold by your teammates. The relationship between apostles is extremely complex and cannot be generalized. Li Erpang is the typical kind of person who heals his scars and forgets the pain. Not long ago, he made up his mind to never believe any word Yilin said, even a punctuation mark. Only a day later, Li Erpang began to believe in Yilin's character again. You won't trick me, will you? Li Erpang was a little worried. Yilin smiled and said, don't worry, you understand me. I never cheat my teammates. Then, I'll think about it. No problem. But you have to decide as soon as possible, it's about half a month away. Li Erpang naturally understood that this was the time limit for Yilin to enter the next trial. After talking about this and seeing that the little fat man was fine, Yilin was ready to leave. Before Yilin left, Li Erpang suddenly looked nervous and asked quickly, hey, wait a minute. Did you just say that there were three people forming a team? Who is the other one? Yilin told the truth, I haven't decided yet. Then, I have a condition. If you don't agree, I won't team up with you until I die. Explain. Don't join Brother Su. No problem, Yilin smiled with squinted eyes and agreed quickly, with a very decisive tone. Seeing how happy Yilin was, Li Erpang felt relieved and began to weigh the pros and cons of teaming up with Yilin to enter the trial. Scumbag. Oulele listened to the conversation between the two with a disdainful expression and whispered. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Infinity Throne. Author, by Yi Shueshi. Chapter 334. 3 days later. Yiren finished her trip to Adi City and returned to the capital. Originally, Yilin planned to visit more cities and visit more old friends. But the experience in the fantasy world made Yilin doubt whether her actions were of any use. Is his memory really correct? Was his rebirth really just an ordinary rebirth? Mingmeng's inference is wrong. Yilin is sure. The only thing he can be sure of now is that he has not returned to another timeline with the same trajectory intact. Instead, he came to a world completely different from the one he knew. Everything has changed. Even the meaning of Ling Yi's existence has become a thorn in Yilin's heart. Although he is not so fragile that he doubts life and the meaning of existence. But after all, you need to calm down and sort out the doubts in your heart before you can move on. There were too many doubts in Yilin's mind. He felt like there was a hand in the dark, disturbing everything. What the undead Zhao Yulong said in Huading City. His parents suddenly disappeared. Ling Yi's future does not exist. The mutation of Dan sect. All of this seemed to tell Yilin that something was wrong with this world. Something is very wrong. But Yilin is living in this world now. Where should he go next? He is now even doubting whether the trajectory of this world will still be like the future in his memory. 4 nights of the apocalypse will come and bring disasters. Wherever they walk, there will be natural disasters. If the end will not come, then why is he reborn this time? Yiren has a headache. There are too many things to think about. He felt like his brain was like a blocked toilet, unable to reach his thoughts. It's such a mess. Yilin sighed helplessly. He suddenly felt like the protagonist in a novel, in a huge whirlpool without knowing it. After Yilin walked out of the underground network entrance, she walked aimlessly on the streets of the capital. The streets were bustling with people coming and going, and it was a peaceful scene. The sunshine is warm, bringing a touch of warmth to the early winter, which is very comfortable. Suddenly looking back, it has been almost half a year since he became an apostle. It's almost 21-22. Yilin felt that her emotions were a little strange. This feeling of lamenting the passage of time is clearly something only an old man can have. He shook his head quickly to clear the sad spring and autumn thoughts from his mind. Wang Tiandi was in high spirits. The cold wind hit the dog's face and ruffled the hair on the dog's face. On the contrary, Wang Tiandi's body was raised with his tail erect, showing an awe-inspiring and inviolable coldness and arrogance, attracting passers-by to look sideways. I have to mention that although Wang Tiandi is a dog, his appearance is indeed pretty good among dogs. This dog is a very handsome, cold, and arrogant cool dog. Wang Tiandi thought happily. It also sensed that something was wrong with Yilin's mood, and would use its paws to tug on Yilin's trouser legs from time to time to express comfort. Yilin was a little confused. What's this stupid dog doing to hold me back? While wandering around, Yilin had nothing to do, turned on her phone and browsed the posts in the capital city forum. Zhao Yulong has taken control from the national level. Once a post related to a Thai city appears, it will be deleted, banned, and permanently banned in an instant, 3 times in one click. Therefore, Yilin didn't see much abnormality on the forum. But this matter has become a topic of conversation among ordinary people after dinner. At present, it is getting more and more intense and difficult to contain. After all, Zhao Yulong can control public opinion on the internet, but he cannot control the mouths of ordinary people. A keyboard warrior can continue to struggle in life even without his keyboard. It is said that Zhao Yulong even burned incense at the headquarters of the special group. In a traditional and superstitious way, I pray to God and worship Buddha every day, hoping that the heat on this matter will cool down quickly. Whether it will work or not, God knows. Gilialo. A small 7-colored leather ball rolled to Yilin's feet. Ball. Yilin looked away from the phone screen. He didn't even have time to identify where the ball came from. But Wang Tiandi, who had been pulling Yilin's hind legs behind him, moved like the wind. He jumped out with all the dog hair blown to the back of his head. In the blink of an eye, he snatched the ball on the ground and played with it happily. Got up. Ah! Xioxy's ball. Xioxy's ball. Give it back to Xioxy. Woohoo! A milky-sounding Lolita voice started to cry. Crying so loudly. Ah, this. Yilin raised her head. A little girl with braids on her head rushed towards the dog, as if she wanted to save the ball from the dog's paws. Dog. Be careful. Yilin reminded from afar. In broad daylight, Yilin didn't have the nerve to shout out Wang Tiandi's real name. What a shame. It's you, big brother. Xiao 11 was just about to take her precious ball back from Guza's mouth, when she heard Yilin's voice. She raised her head and seemed to recognize Yilin. Well, it's quite fate. Yilin also recognized this little girl. I didn't expect to meet him in the capital. Yilin bent down, touched Xiao 11's head, and asked with a smile, "Why are you here?" Xiao 11 pouted and seemed a little dissatisfied. "It's all Mom's fault. She insisted on coming to live in a big city. Xiao 11 even said she didn't want it or not. But Mom actually went behind Xiao 11's back and secretly bought it in this place. I've had a few apartments and I hate them so much. Yulin. If it weren't for your young age, I would have thought you were showing off your wealth. Child. This is not good for you." Yulin actually wanted to take the opportunity to educate children about their values. But her mouth moved, and Yulin was not in the mood, so she didn't say anything. Only then did Yulin realize that he had accidentally wandered into the square, which was crowded with people from all over the place. It was very lively. "Where's your mom?" "I don't know, he was still there just now." From time to time, Xiao 11 glanced at the little ball that Wang Tiandi was playing with so much, as if she was still planning how to get the ball back. This feeling seems familiar. Why does it feel like every time he and the Xiao 11 meet, she is in a state of being lost? Sure enough, people and their physiques cannot be generalized. Maybe this is talent. Meeting each other is fate. Yulin had nothing to do anyway, so he could only take Xiao 11 and sit down on a nearby bench. He planned to wait and see for a while. If Xiao 11's mother didn't come to find someone after a while, Yulin would have to use some official help. Since you have privileges, don't use them in vain. Brother, you don't keep your words. Xiao 11 suddenly put her hands on her hips and pointed at Yulin with a sweet voice and said, "Ah! What do you say but don't keep it? You said before that when you returned to Qingcheng, you came to play with Zioxi and even held her up high." As Xiao 11 spoke, she stretched out her hand and made a raise it high gesture, indicating that she wanted to be very, very high. Yulin lowered her head and thought. It seems that he did agree casually at that time. But he didn't expect that he could actually meet him in the vast sea of people. What a surprise. Lifted high, lifted high. Okay, okay. Yulin effortlessly lifted Xiao 11 up. Xiao 11 was lifted above her head by Yulin, giggling innocently. When people passing by saw this scene, they smiled like ants and whispered, "Look, that man looks a bit fierce, but I didn't expect him to be so caring." Nonsense, how can you be caring by playing with your own daughter? It's normal, isn't it? Huh? You have children at such a young age? Young people of this generation, tisk tisk tisk. What's this? I heard a while ago that my neighbor next door just graduated from high school. He is 18 years old. He is so handsome. In the blink of an eye, he is the father of 3 children. Ah! Doesn't the law care? What the hell? You're overthinking this. His little girl is married to a rich woman, and she's buying 1 and getting 3 free. Ah, envy, no, I'm jealous. Listening to the conversations of passers-by, Yulin felt a little embarrassed. Why does he look so fierce? Yulin was speechless. After playing with Xiao 11 for a while, Yulin put Xiao 11 down. "Big brother, would you like to study with Xiao 11? Xiao 11's cute little face was flushed with excitement. She took out an exquisite illustrated novel from somewhere, and it was actually a hardcover paper collector's edition. The title of the novel is also interesting. I am obviously a weakling, but the whole world regards me as a savior. Now I am panicking. What should I do? The title of the book is too long." It took 3 lines to write down the title of the book in its entirety. Yulin remained silent. Xiao 11 tried her best to sit on the bench, her calves shaking up and down rhythmically. She placed the graphic novel on her lap and flipped through the pages quickly. "Brother, do you know? Xiao 11 likes reading books the most." Xiao 11 turned the novel to the middle and laughed. Xiao 11 can turn the book to the beginning or to the middle. Sometimes, Xiao 11 likes to turn the book directly to the end. The protagonist of this book, whether it is the past, present, or future, Zioxy can clearly see it anytime and anywhere. But sometimes, some books are not well written, and Zioxy is so angry that she tears them up, but mom gives her a good scolding. After Xiao 11 finished speaking, she closed the book on her lap. This book is so written. After saying that, Xiao 11's bright eyes looked towards Yilin. Xiao 11, where are you? Don't scare mom. Xiao 11. Xiao 11. Right now. A beautiful woman with a good figure and a flustered expression shouted in the crowd. Mom, I'm here, I'm here. Xiao 11 stood up on the bench excitedly and shouted in the direction of the sound. 1 minute later. When mother and daughter reunited, the beautiful woman hugged Xiao 11 tightly, blaming herself for not paying attention, and kept thanking the kind-hearted Yilin. Goodbye, big brother. Xiao 11 held the beautiful woman's hand, and Wang Tiandi reluctantly returned the ball. He squatted at Yilin's feet, sticking out his tongue, and was still having fun playing with the ball. Yilin looked at mother and daughter, walking away from each other. Suddenly, Yilin raised her head, with an indifferent expression, and asked Xiao 11's back, "Who are you?" Xiao 11 turned around. He stuck out his tongue at Yilin and made a face. "My name is Xiao 11. Big brother." Finished. The mother and daughter soon disappeared into the crowd. Yilin sat down on the empty bench, holding her chin in her hands, her face sullen, thoughtful. This posture and expression scared passers-by and backed away, for fear of provoking some ruthless character who shouldn't be provoked. Xiao 11. Yilin murmured to herself, thinking about the name carefully. Yilin didn't know how long she had been sitting on the bench. Only when the sky darkened and neon lights of various colors lit up around her did Yilin come back from her thoughts. Goo goo goo. There was a hungry sound in his stomach. Oh no. Yilin lowered her head. The sound came from Emperor Wang Tian's belly. Emperor Wang Tian raised his head aggrievedly and looked at Yilin. It seems to be using this method to express a silent protest against Yilin's cruelty to the dog. Yilin chuckled. The gloom in his eyes was swept away. He smiled and touched Wang Tian's dog's head. "Are you hungry? I've wronged you." Wang Tiandi raised the corners of his mouth, straightened his hind legs and bent his front legs, and stood up in front of Yilin. Emperor Wang Tian could even flick his tail and spiral up into the sky. This kind of anthropomorphic standing action made Yilin feel ordinary, boring, and without any waves. But what is this dog doing standing up? Yilin didn't have time to ask. Wang Tiandi patted his belly vigorously with his paws, pointed at his mouth, and finally bent his forearms in a large arc in front of him very smartly. "You mean, you want to eat so full that your belly feels like you're pregnant?" Yilin understood Wang Tiandi's actions immediately. Although he doesn't understand dog language, Wang Tiandi, the thief spirit, actually thought of this method of communication. Emperor Wang Tian. Who the hell wants to be pregnant? I am a male, a male, a male. Although there are some flaws in Yilin's metaphor. But the overall meaning is probably correct. The corners of Wang Tiandi's mouth twitched and he hesitated for a moment. He could not correct Yilin's inappropriate metaphor and could only nod his head silently. "Okay. Let's go." Yilin smiled and took Emperor Wang to a restaurant. One person and one dog, having a good meal in the restaurant. In order to avoid attracting attention, Yilin specially ordered a private room with a minimum consumption. After eating and drinking, Emperor Wang Tiandi quietly took a toothpick and picked his teeth with a very happy expression. "Ah, this is life." Yilin took Wang Tiandi back to Molly's laboratory. It was late at night, and the doorman stood dutifully at the door. Yilin was also a frequent visitor to the laboratory. The guard exchanged a few pleasantries and asked with concern whether there were any sequelae on the back of Yilin's head after falling last time, and then put Yilin into the laboratory. Yulin is not worried about Molly's safety. He knew very well that this seemingly undefended laboratory, guarded only by a middle-aged guard, was surrounded by many field personnel from the special forces lurking as secret sentries. As long as there are no apostles with special abilities, it is generally difficult to break through the surrounding secret sentries. As for the apostle, no one with a little knowledge would provoke Molly. After all, provoking Molly is equivalent to provoking the special group. The special group is equivalent to the official management organization of the apostles. There are countless capable people, but there is no benefit if they are provoked. No one will be that stupid. Yulin came back quietly without alerting anyone. When one person and one dog tiptoed past Molly's dedicated laboratory, Yulin discovered that there was a faint light coming from the crack in the door. Is she staying up late again? Yulin felt a little distressed inexplicably. But Yulin stood at the door and hesitated for a moment, and finally decided not to disturb him, and returned to his room with Guzi. Welcome home, Yulin. It is now December 18, 2121, 22:30. When Yulin walked into the room, accompanied by the soft and beautiful AI female voice, the lights in the whole room suddenly turned on. In a daze, Yulin actually had the illusion of returning to her former home. This? When did Molly back up the AI butler he was used to? Do you have the nerve to say you didn't leave any evidence? I didn't expect you to be so cute. Yulin laughed dumbly. But after a few seconds, he smiled knowingly and had mixed feelings. After returning here after a long journey, Yulin took a comfortable bath and turned on the TV for a while. Late-night TV shows are boring and not as exciting as the late-night shows in Greentown. When Wang Tiandi saw Yulin turn on the TV, he rushed up to the sofa, squatted next to Yulin, and gave him a you know look. Okay, it's the animal world, right? You are such a dog. Yulin never imagined that one day she would compete with a dog to watch TV. But remembering that Emperor Wang Tian had contributed a lot in Litai City, he followed Wang Tian Emperor's temper and switched channels. Naturally, Yulin was not interested in the various animals without clothes on TV shows. Emperor Wang Tian looked at it with gusto, and his expression gradually changed. Yulin changed into a comfortable position, wearing a clean bathrobe and sitting on the sofa. The bathrobe is warm and comfortable. Yulin turned his attention away from the TV program. While Molly was away, he casually summoned Bai Xiaoi and Nai Hongxiu to get some air. This ordinary summoning spirit can also increase the proficiency of the spirit-attached weapon a little bit, which is better than nothing, but the more you add up, the better. Acridine. Master. I've met the officials. After the two mother spirits, Bai Xiaoi and Nai Hongxiu, expressed their respect to Yulin in their own way, Yulin let them move freely in the room while their spiritual energy was still sufficient. He was alone, bowing his head in thought. It's best to think about problems in the dead of night. Although the room was a little lively, it was fine once you got used to it. The two mother spirits have long been accustomed to Yulin's coldness. Nai Hongxiu rarely appears, gentle and elegant, floating in the air obediently, calmly wearing a red gauze, watching TV. Bai Xiaoi was restless and pulled the dog hair on Wang Tiandi's head curiously. 10 minutes later. After Yulin went through the whole thing for a while, he opened the communication panel and sent a voice call request to one of the illuminated avatars. Soon. Voice connected. Yulin smiled and said, "You pick up the call pretty quickly." Xin Fei tried his best to sound calm, and asked slowly, "Ahem, I don't know what kind of care does the boss want from me in the middle of the night?" Do not know why. Yulin always felt that there was a hint of nervousness in Xin Fei's tone of voice. What's there to be nervous about? Yulin didn't think much and asked straight to the point, "I have some professional questions that I would like to ask you." Professional? Yulin. Xin Fei paused for a moment and then said, "Boss, didn't you say we'd never have any contact with each other until we die?" Are you actually secretly investigating my background in reality? Isn't it bad that words don't count? Wait, couldn't you have already arrived at my house? It's nearby, are you ready to come to your door? What Yulin didn't know was that Xing Fei, who was talking to Yulin at home, was so frightened that after thinking about everything, he quickly pressed against the wall and looked at every corner of the house with a cold look, for fear of exposing his anus. Come out. He probably will never forget it in his life. No one knows assassination better than Yulin. Xing Fei's excessive reaction made Yulin quite puzzled. When did you say we'd never interact with each other until death? Yulin didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and said, don't scare yourself, I'm referring to your other major. Xing Fei was stunned. He reacted instantly and his tone was slightly condensed, alchemy. Yulin quickly expressed his intention, I just want to ask if there is a formation in alchemy that can summon alien creatures. That's right. As the saying goes, one has to specialize in the art, and the experience inside the bust of the Buddha really touched Yulin's blind spot. He remembered that Xing Fei studied alchemy and should have certain attainments. According to Zhao Yulong, the formation in the belly of the bust of the Buddha is still being excavated to see if it can be restored. Before Zhao Yulong came to a conclusion, Yulin planned to consult Xing Fei to see if he had any unique insights. After all, according to Yulin's superficial understanding of alchemy, the power of alchemy must be achieved through a medium similar to formation. Really? When Yulin mentioned this matter, Xing Fei's interest was instantly piqued. An alien creature? Please elaborate. But before Yulin could start speaking. However, Xing Fei's tone changed and he said in surprise, wait, alien creature? Boss, what you want to ask about is, the monster in Litai City. Oh? You actually know. The specific inside story is unclear. After all, the official has intervened to block the news, but this matter has also been circulated in some private channels, and it is quite mysterious. Listening to your reaction, boss, it turns out that this matter is true. Yulin sighed, after you listen, just pretend you have never heard of it. Otherwise, even if I don't look for you, someone will come to your door. Xing Fei instantly felt like crying, boss, please don't cheat me. Is it too late for me to hang up now? It's too late, Yulin smiled slightly, don't be afraid, no one can eavesdrop on the calls between the apostles anyway, so just keep it a secret. Okay, Xing Fei pretended to shirk the situation for a while, then readily agreed. In fact, Xing Fei is also very interested in this monster incident that has become so popular in certain small circles. He didn't expect that Yulin would know the inside story of this matter. Yulin omitted the cause and effect of the whole incident and only told Xing Fei the key points of the hundreds of people kneeling in the bust of the Buddha to offer sacrifices, pray, and form formations. Xing Fei did not interrupt during the whole process and was very quiet. But the shock in my heart could not be greater. If something like this happens during a trial, no matter how weird it is, it won't seem strange. But when it happens in the real world, it's a bit scary. Hundreds of people actually followed this ancient ritual to commit suicide, and actually summoned a monster that did not belong to this world. It was simply unbelievable. After the shock, Xing Fei thought for a long time. He even interrupted the conversation midway to browse through all kinds of weird books he had collected from the black market. About half an hour later, Xing Fei had a reply. Yulin waited until her eyes were sleepy and almost thought that this kid was going to run away. Boss, according to the formation you mentioned to summon monsters after sacrifice, it is more like a lost black magic than alchemy. Dark magic. It is a certain mysterious ritual that was popular on the European continent in the Middle Ages. Because it is too old and has been lost, there is no way to study it. Elaborate. Infinity Throne. Author, by Yi Xueshi. Chapter 335. First of all, I will briefly explain the principles of alchemy to the boss based on my personal experience. Sci-fi changed his words and his tone instantly became professional. As if to say, no one knows alchemy better than him. Alchemy, which was popular in Europe in ancient times, is actually a science, to put it bluntly. There is no mysterious power. Of course, some ancient alchemy books that have been handed down also have certain reference value. The alchemy I learned in a certain world is a kind of strengthening. In that world, there is a supreme existence called truth. Only when truth exists, can I clap my hands to release come to alchemy. Otherwise, without being beaten and nurtured in that world, the most you can do in the real world is blowing on flasks and playing with alcohol lamps. Sci-fi seemed to be a little swollen as he spoke, and his tone began to grow louder. However, Yilin noticed that Sci-fi had a problem with his speech. The flask is for blowing? How to blow? Sci-fi didn't notice the flaw in his words and continued. The identity of an apostle is equivalent to a medium that connects the real world with that world, allowing me to feel the truth in the real world. I did an experiment not long ago, allowing ordinary people completely follow the method of alchemy, draw formations, brainstorm formulas, analyze material elements, and perfectly follow the principle of equivalent exchange. But in the end there was no reaction at all. So I personally came to a conclusion that certain types of enhancements require the blessing of a certain amount of power of the world. Without the apostle status as a medium, there is no way to perform this type of enhancement. Of course, there may be methods, but for the time being I did not find. Yilin understood what Sci-fi meant. After pondering for a moment, he drew inferences and said, "You mean, the person who summons alien creatures in this way must be an apostle. It should be similar, otherwise it would be too weird." Coming back to this matter, I checked some information. The black magic that was popular in the Middle Ages is said to be similar to the magic in the novel, but the steps are more complicated. They are also the same. It uses some media, such as animal and insect corpses, human organs, incense, and medicine, and then uses complex methods to complete rituals to demonstrate various abilities. Of course, I have never seen these in reality. They are all legends. Whether it is exaggerated or not is difficult to say. However, according to the scene you described, those hundreds of people sacrificed their lives voluntarily. I have some ideas about summoning alien creatures. Sci-fi took a sip of water to moisten his throat, and while flipping through the book, he said, "It is said that there is a black witchcraft ritual to summon the devil, which is similar to what you said. However, some experts have studied this period of history and said those wizards were able to summon the Devil King because they had hallucinations caused by taking a large amount of hallucinogenic drugs." Expert, he. Yilin chuckled and was non-committal. Well, in short, after using science to explain these mysteries, everything becomes ordinary. The video a few days ago probably slapped a lot of people in the face. In fact, I think it took hundreds of people's lives to summon that big guy. It is somewhat similar to the basic law of alchemy, equivalent exchange, using life of the same quality to exchange for creatures of the same quality. But I am very curious, how to measure the value of human life? The value of each person should not be quantified, right? Age, weight, wealth, gender. In short, I think it is quite weird, and it is difficult to fully explain. That's right. This is beyond my realm of knowledge and I think you may have the wrong person. Can't quantify? No. Yilin frowned. In fact, it is possible. He suddenly remembered the chaos points he gained every time he killed someone. Isn't this the embodiment of quantifying life? From the perspective of Tower, life can be quantified, weighed, and even recycled. Yilin closed her eyes. He recalled the scene again. After all the sacrificers committed suicide, blue light like fine sand gathered from their bodies. After the Chimera appeared, the blue light that once surrounded her What kind of passage did it pass through to get from its world to this world? When it appeared, it was covered in rot. Is it related to the blue light? While Yilin was thinking, Seeing Fei said to himself, however, although I can't give you the conclusion, I personally have a conjecture. Huh? Please tell me. Those complex and cumbersome rituals, whether it is the size of the venue, the incantations recited, the number of sacrificers, etc., may be equivalent to acting as a coordinate to accurately locate a certain place in a certain world. Life, this may be the true meaning of these rituals. If you think about it along the lines of alchemy, are these tedious steps, materials, and spells similar to some kind of formula? Through different matching combinations, like codons, the corresponding monsters summon it. Coordinate. Formula. A. Yilin's eyes narrowed. Is this ritual related to the specific number of sacrificers or even the time when the ritual starts? Of course there is. These black witchcraft are most particular about the right time, place, and people. The time to start the ceremony must even be precise to a certain day, a certain hour, or even a certain minute. Even the position they stand on the summoning array is also particular. This is all what the book says, and I think they were so particular about it at the time, so there should be some reason for it. Hearing this, Yilin was thoughtful. He didn't say anything more. After all, Seeing Fei has nothing to do with this matter, and there is no need to involve him too deeply. Yilin understood almost everything she should know. When preparing to end the call, Seeing Fei suddenly remembered something and added, by the way, there is one more thing, about the fragrance you said you smelled during the ceremony. Not only in medieval Europe, there are also similar records among ancient alchemists in my country. But only a few words have been handed down, not much. For example, in ancient times, it was said that there was a kind of powder refined from linden grass as the main raw material. After being ignited, it would emit a mysterious fragrance. It is said that after someone inhales this fragrance, they will have traveling back to ancient times. At that time, I thought that these people were taking drugs because of the effect of wandering in a fuzzy state and completely forgetting themselves, but after hearing what you said, I don't know if it has anything to do with it. This is somewhat consistent with what you said about the psychotic state of that group of people at that time. Looking back from ancient times to the present, wandering in a trance, completely forgetting yourself? Is the next sentence transcendent? So fantasy? Seeing Fei finally ended the call in fear. He swore that unless he died, nothing about today's matter would be revealed, not even a single punctuation mark. Seeing Fei was afraid that Yilin would come to kill him. In fact, after Yilin thought about it carefully, he didn't reveal any secrets that must be silenced to hide them. But since Seeing Fei was so crazy, Yilin could only let him go. From Seeing Fei's side, Yilin couldn't get a definite answer to this matter. But it also expanded Yilin's many ideas. After chatting with Seeing Fei, Yilin saw that her spiritual energy was almost depleted, so she put away the mother and daughter Bai Xiaoai and Nai Hongxiu who were watching TV with great interest and prepared to go to bed. Wang Tiandi's eyes widened, his breathing became rapid, and he pressed the remote control under his butt, as if he would fight with anyone who dared to turn off the TV. Yilin could only let this stupid dog stay up late watching Animal World and go to sleep alone. A night of silence. The next day. 3 poles in the sun. Yilin slept until she woke up naturally. It feels like I haven't slept in such a comfortable bed for a long time. Master Ma's small dormitory was extremely oppressive. If it wasn't forced by the situation, Yilin would never sleep there again even to death. After waking up, Yilin was bored and wandered around the laboratory. Unexpectedly, Yilin discovered Pan Zhenji's figure in one of the laboratories. Many researchers and ladies were surrounding Pan Zhenji. But Lao Pan was actually wearing a suit that was clearly an experimenter, lying on the bed, laughing. This guy's dark circles seemed to be getting deeper. How long has it been since I last slept? Yulin watched curiously for a while and discovered that these researchers were actually doing research on Laupan. What's there to study, Laupan? Yulin slowly typed a question mark. It can be seen that Laupan has no fear for his life and seems to be enjoying himself, so Yulin does not bother him. This guy has a terrifying luck value of 8.6. It is estimated that only natural disasters can take him away. Maybe you'll survive the trial better than anyone else, so there's nothing to worry about. After Yulin came back, she saw her apostle panel. Now we have a new understanding of luck value and charm value, two attributes that seem to have little combat effectiveness. Luck and charm also have their limits. Call it a luck. In Itai City, with the help of Lancer's blessing, Yulin accidentally ordered the luck value to break through the lower limit of 0, reaching the realm of negative numbers, and even realized a powerful enhancement. Echoes of Doom. When the luck value exceeded the lower limit, Yulin felt as if she understood something. Ah, what a pain to comprehend. The more unlucky he is, the stronger he becomes. That feeling was very similar to the feeling he had when he broke through the mental lock. The feeling of having everything under control was very comfortable. But at that time, after all, the lower limit was forcibly broken through with the help of props. When the effect of the props disappeared, the luck value on Yulin's panel returned to 2.6, and in the enhancement column, Echoes of Doom also dimmed and could not be used or disabled. Check it out, it's gone. After knowing that this kind of operation existed, Yulin was full of expectations for future trials. Surrender, you can surrender, and continue to surrender. If you don't surrender, I will be in trouble with you. From then on, Yulin had another secret. After ignoring the nervous Laupan, Yulin found Molly again. After all, I returned to the laboratory without saying a word last night, so I had to say hello to the owner. Molly looked surprised when she saw Yulin coming back. But what surprised Yulin even more was that the first thing Molly said was, "Did you sneak back here some time ago?" "Ah? When?" Yulin was stunned when he heard this. "Why didn't I know that I was back?" "Not you." Molly was also stunned. The two people stared at each other for a long time. After much hesitation, Molly told Yulin without any secret that she had obtained a mysterious USB flash drive for no apparent reason. GM. What's the meaning? The two closed the door, and the man and the woman were alone in a room. After confirming that the surrounding area was absolutely safe, Molly handed the mysterious USB flash drive to Yulin. Yulin frowned and looked at the two letters engraved on the USB flash drive, lost in thought. These two letters were not engraved with laser. Instead, it looks like it was carved on the metal shell of the USB flash drive with a knife, and the workmanship is rough. For some reason, Yulin always felt that this font looked familiar. But strange. When Yulin was about to plug it into the computer to see the contents of the mysterious USB flash drive, Molly was so frightened that she snatched the USB flash drive back from Yulin's hand. That expression was very much like a little hen protecting her calf. "Hunden, don't insert it randomly. I have specially encrypted this USB flash drive. It can only be opened with my dedicated computer and in a specific way. Otherwise, it will explode on the spot." Infinity Throne. Author, by Yi Shueshi. Chapter 336. In the end, Yulin still didn't figure out what the GM engraved on the mysterious USB flash drive meant. Even Molly herself didn't understand it, and Yulin couldn't understand it even more. Who is it? When returning to the room, Yulin thought about this question seriously. The USB flash drive that mysteriously appeared in Molly's hand was of great value. It contains the most cutting-edge scientific and technological confidential information in various fields from all over the world. If the contents of the USB flash drive in Molly's hand were spread, it would definitely cause turmoil in the world. It is no exaggeration to say that it even triggered a war again. Molly also knew the seriousness of the matter, so she kept this secret tightly and did not dare to tell the third person. Now, this has become a secret shared by Yilin and Molly. Molly admitted that the information on the USB flash drive was her blind spot in certain areas. If she is allowed to develop it alone, she will not be able to truly explore the true value of the USB flash drive. Military individual combat armor, new energy, medical equipment, mechanical prosthetics, controllable nuclear fusion, evolvable artificial intelligence AI models, Inca Empire magic, human body modification surgery, neural link brain-computer interface, whatever it is, it has already taken shape. Is still in the theoretical stage, or even just a hypothesis. In Molly's words, the content inside is somewhat outrageous. After carefully studying the contents of the USB flash drive, she came to a conclusion. The content here does not come from the hands of a professional scientific researcher. It's more like a person who doesn't know anything, copying and pasting mechanically, forcibly copying some information and copying it to this USB disk, simple and crude. The origin of this USB flash drive was simply unbelievable to Molly, as if a plug-in had been turned on. She reasonably speculated that GM forcibly copied all the information to the USB flash drive. When copying the confidential information, she even erased traces of previous visits from the stolen computer without knowing how. The organization that has lost these data is very likely now like an ant on a hot pot, frantically looking for these lost data. This was another reason why Molly didn't dare to tell anyone else about it. Too dangerous. But, it's exciting. Since this matter had nothing to do with Yilin, Molly planned to bear the sin alone, silently, and kicked Yilin out of the laboratory with her bare feet. Yilin was thinking. He subconsciously picked at the dead skin on his forehead. Thoughts quickly flashed through his mind. Messy clues intertwined. Finally, Yilin suddenly opened her eyes. He came to an inference that was both incredible and reasonable. In the past future, Molly definitely did not experience this. Yilin is sure. He knew Molly well. But everything has changed. This world, everything he was familiar with, was completely turned upside down. Someone knows what Molly is doing. Some people even know that I am a reborn person. Who is this guy? When all the deductions led to this answer, Yilin didn't believe it at first. But the ancients said, when all other possibilities are eliminated and there is only one left, it is the truth, no matter how impossible it seems. Yilin once again recalled Zhao Yulong's expression when he casually lied to Zhao Yulong in the ruins of the Atai City School District. Now that Yilin thought about it carefully, he found that the reason why Zhao Yulong believed it was not because of his advanced level of deception. Instead, Zhao Yulong knew that there was a certain person, someone who was terrifying enough to easily defeat the Chimera, but Zhao Yulong was so taboo that he did not dare to name him easily, and even listed this someone as a secret. It seems that we have to find an opportunity to go deep into the special group and investigate this so-called mysterious friend. Yilin took out the list on her phone and put the words mysterious friend on the list. This time Yilin is not making friends out of nowhere. This friend does exist. However, Yilin's current authority cannot touch it. After a lot of things happened, Yilin put her plan of visiting old friends on hold for the time being. He once tapped Zhao Yulong tactfully from the side and asked who the mysterious friend who appeared in Atai City was. But when Yilin had the slightest hint of exploration, old Yinbai Zhao Yulong immediately became alert and used lame excuses to fool Yilin, making Yilin feel like her intelligence had been insulted. After searching for words to no avail, Yilin even came up with an idea. Since no one knows stealth better than him now, can he sneak into the headquarters of the Special Forces and search for relevant secrets? If he was discovered, he would be a member of the special group anyway, so he would just go to the toilet as an excuse. Even if Zhao Yulong didn't believe it, there was probably nothing he could do against him. who told him that he had no evidence. Yulin silently began to make plans for this matter and choose a day to execute it. In the following time, Yulin was very idle. Molly was even busier because she had obtained the information in the mysterious USB flash drive. She spent all day in front of the computer calculating data and drawing charts that Yulin couldn't understand at all. It was very profound. But looking at the sketches Molly drew, it seemed like she was designing something mysterious. While there was nothing to do, Yulin summoned Night Dyer again and let Molly disassemble, study, and compare it with the drawings. As for Ling Yi, she is the same as before, nothing special. The days are ordinary and stable. Until, half a month later. Silently, the calendar entered the year 2122. January. Early. Weather, overcast. Temperature, 4 degrees Celsius. Very cold. Yulin leisurely helped Ling Yi out to bask in the dark clouds. In order to avoid disturbing pedestrians, Wang Tiandi abided by the pet management regulations, put the dog leash around his neck, held it by himself, followed Yulin and Ling Yi, eating cold dog food, feeling pain and happiness. On this day, Yulin finally received a reply from the little fat man. There was only one short sentence in the little fat man's message. Time and location. Capital, immediately, you know the address. Remember, don't tell Brother Su. The little fat man didn't forget to remind him of this at the end. Yulin actually wanted to say it. He really wanted to bring Brother Su into the group. After all, the double tank start is as stable as an old dog. But although Brother Su doesn't look like him on the surface, he is a real woman on the inside and cannot be fake. The attributes of proof of bonding are very clear. Only 3 people of the same gender can form a team and enter the trial. Either 3 men or 3 women. There is absolutely no room for disharmony. Naturally, Yulin readily agreed to the little fat man's only lifelong request without any ambiguity. He was afraid that the little fat man would go back on his word and even swear a poisonous oath. If he went back on his word, there would be thunder, flash floods, and tsunamis in his face. Yulin naturally came up with this kind of oath casually. Anyway, it was impossible for the sky to make a thunder out of thin air. Li Erpang, I believe it. After all, this poison oath is really poisonous. While waiting for the little fat man to come to the door, Yulin settled down with Ling Yi and had nothing to do, carefully sorting out her skills and storage space. Make adequate preparations for the upcoming trials. Now, although Yulin is about to face a cruel trial, she is not panicked or afraid at all. He currently has too many trump cards. If I attack with all my strength, I will be scared even myself. Yulin was very emotional. How could he become so awesome without even realizing it? Ahem. Although it is a bit arrogant to think this way, it is really hard for Yulin to imagine what kind of trials at this level can prevent him from passing the level and improving his evaluation. Should not. Yulin, who is familiar with the intensity of each stage of the trial, still has this confidence. What's more, this time we entered the trial as a team. Even if the level difference between the 3 people is different, it may be possible to increase the difficulty of the trial by 1 level. But no matter how you improve it, it will just be upgraded to Nightmare difficulty. On the Nightmare difficulty level, there are also the Nightmare difficulty and the Eternal Night difficulty. Some people speculate that on the Eternal Night difficulty, there is also a Twilight of the Gods with a death rate as high as 99%. It is just a temporary, the team contract isn't that outrageous. Yulin was quite relieved about this. He is not so unlucky. Bad luck. Bad luck. Bad luck. Yulin thought about it and suddenly stood up, opened the Apostle panel, and took a look at the luck value marked on the panel. Not really. Yulin shook her head, waiting for the little fat man to put away the ridiculous thoughts. Taking advantage of her free time, Yulin took a look at the Apostle forum. See if there are any interesting stories and insights in the Apostolic Circle. This forum that connects all apostles can be said to be one of the sources of information in the Apostle Circle and is very useful. Yulin glanced through the hot posts. As expected, 100 flowers bloomed in the Apostle Forum. Water stickers, technical stickers, mating stickers, social stickers, and attention stickers. Like. As a second-level newbie, what does it mean to get an A-level evaluation in the trial? I'm good at cooking. I got 3 rare level props in the last trial, and I got a B-level skill in the lottery. Oh, what a tragedy. Skill Usage Guide. 3-sided strengthening route and analysis of advantages and disadvantages. Yo. This signature is actually Lightning Whip. Could it be Master Ma? Interesting. I want to find a soulmate, the kind who can keep each other warm in the cold winter, have fun, and only pursue the collision of souls, without talking about feelings. Yulin glanced at posts like this and found them boring. In addition to these posts that are not informative, 50% of the forum panels are occupied by the monster incident in Itai City. Have you seen the video about Itai City? It is said that a mysterious giant beast appeared in Itai City. It is suspected that it may come from the other world. No way. Which brother is so fierce that he provoked the monsters in the trial and chased them into the real world? The fiery red meteor-shaped flying object, after high-definition restoration using my professional pixel mosaic restoration software, is reasonably presumed to be the flying skills of a certain boss. He is sneaking the monster in front. The identification is complete. Everyone else was just walking their dogs, but this big guy just sneaked up and turned into a monster. I was waiting for him to rush to the street and kneel down. Kneel down. Giving milk to the boss.jpg. Respecting milk.avi. Driving upstairs, reported. Report that shit. Who is going to ban people here? There is no forum administrator. Good guy. I call you good guy. I guess there are no people left, right? According to reliable information, the big man left very peacefully, with a smile on his face. The fire was burning brightly, his ashes were very hot, his family was very strong, and he even sang a cool song. I can't finish editing anymore. Yulin silently closed the Apostle Forum. There are indeed many talented people in your circle. In this case, they can still talk and laugh like this. Obviously all values have collapsed, okay. Doesn't anyone care about why monsters appear in the real world? Yulin was helpless. Even in the unmonitored Apostle Forum, everyone seems to be wearing a mask, full of hypocrisy and flattery. After roughly understanding the information among the apostles, Yulin habitually opened the Void Merchant function to check. Although this new function was unlocked after level 3, it was a trick, but Yulin had the habit of opening it from time to time and taking a look. Although generally speaking, there are no good things and they are all pitfalls, but what if there is? Isn't it a mistake? It doesn't take much time to take a look at it. The Void Merchant sells the list, and the refresh time is not fixed. Take a look at it from time to time to avoid missing any treasures. Yulin summoned the Void Merchant with the mentality that he would not die even if he looked at it, but it would be of no use even if he looked at it. A mysterious businessman with green hair from head to toe, wearing a cloak, whose face could not be seen clearly, appeared in Yulin's field of vision. The green Void Merchant silently inserted a green sign on the list, which stung Yulin's eyes. Minus 90%. Yulin. Good guy. This green Void Merchant was actually coveting his wallet. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Infinity Throne. Author, by Yi Shueshi. Chapter 337. Certainly. The wallet is just a metaphor. In short, Yulin felt that the Void Merchant was coveting his DP. But Yulin still looked carefully. Discount? And it's still a fracture? How is that possible? Yulingsu stared at the mysterious item on the Void Merchant's sales list. Although the things sold by Void Merchants are full of randomness, even the prices are random. But marking -90% so blatantly is like telling Yulin. If you buy it, you will earn it. If you miss it, it will last a lifetime. This is the first time Yulin has seen such an outrageous discount. Karen is such a weird creature. Even though she knew something was wrong, Yulin couldn't help but think about it carefully and observe the props on the list. After all, it's an outrageous discount. In the hands of the Void Merchant is a card that is filled with light. On the front of the card is a piece of paper. On the paper, a dome-shaped house is drawn. In addition to the appearance of the props, the names, properties, grades, and descriptions of the props are all, as expected, and mysterious. After Yilin thought about the appearance of this discounted item, she silently looked at the price. What the hell? Seeing this, even though Yilin had been mentally prepared, she was still shocked. 36,000 DP. A discount of 10% means, the original price is 360,000 death points. Why don't you go and grab it? After reading the price, Yilin complained crazily. Although after the discount, the price of 36,000 is not too expensive. For a high-level apostle, it's still okay to spend tens of thousands of points casually. But Yilin's current level, 36,000, is equivalent to a huge sum of money. Not long ago, Yilin couldn't even afford this huge sum of money. He glanced at his account. Remaining death points, 66,700. This was only after completing the real-life mission of killing the Chimera and earning more than 30,000 DP that I achieved my current net worth. Did you know that I have no place to use my DP now, so you came out and tried to break my bones to tempt me to spend money? Yilin knew clearly that there would never be any response or interaction from the Void Merchant, but he couldn't help but complain as he stared at the mysterious green figure. Never mind. Yilin shook his head and prepared to close the Void Merchant interface. But I don't know if it's an illusion. Before closing, the big green -90% icon flashed again. Yilin was about to close the interface, but froze in mid-air. He began to hesitate. For now, 36,000 is indeed not much. This is an item with an original price of 360,000 DP. Although the prices of random props purchased from Void Merchants may not be trustworthy, there is generally a trend. It is indeed possible to buy an epic or even legendary item for 100,000 points. But for 1 or 200 points, the chance of buying epic props or even legendary items is almost zero. A prop with an original price of 360,000 yuan, no matter how unworthy it seems, there should be a reason for selling it so expensively. Want to take a gamble? Because of her luck, Yilin is rarely able to get high-level props or skills among the random rewards after clearing levels. The most recently obtained epic item was the reward for bringing together Little Fatty and Suzayasu. Forbidden Fruit of Wisdom. What was the last epic item you obtained? It seems to be the family heirloom Kangzin's compass from the Caribbean. What you snatched has nothing to do with the lottery. European Emperor has everything in the trial. Yilin can only rely on grabbing, snatching, and fighting hard. Then, do you want to take a gamble? Yilin ran through many thoughts and asked herself again. At this time, all that needs to be measured is the ratio of risk to return. 36,000 DP points is indeed nothing to Yilin now. Currently, there is no urgent need for him to use DP extensively. Once this discount is missed, Yilin really doesn't dare to hope that there will be a second time in the rest of her life when she encounters a Void Merchant and breaks her bones. If you miss it, you might regret it. Yilin admitted that she was gambling. But he vaguely felt that if he didn't get it this time, he might never get such a discount again in the future. At worst, it's just a loss of 36,000 DP. Think of this. Yilin had no expression on her face, stretched out her hand, and grabbed the translucent mysterious card in the void. I don't know if it's an illusion. Yulin felt that when she stretched out her hand, a mysterious smile seemed to emerge from the deep shadow under the void merchant's green cloak. Well, an illusion. Now that she had decided to take a gamble, Yulin acted quickly, and decisively. When Yulin's hand touched the fracture-breaking prop card, the unknown prop quickly condensed from illusion into substance, and Yulin caught it in her hand. While making the purchase, Yulin heard the sound of money flowing through it like running water. Purchase successful. Successfully consumed 36,000 death points. Welcome to visit next time. The void merchant left happily. Yulin felt like waiting for the lottery results. He looked at the prop silently. The next moment, the properties of the mysterious prop appeared in front of Yulin. Drawings of the House of Time and Spirit. Level Epic. Effect insufficient permissions and cannot be viewed. Instructions: click to view details. Blueprint. Yulin was confused. It was the first time he saw this kind of prop. What the hell? The pattern on the front of the drawing is a small domed house with a simple appearance and simple design. House design drawings. Yulin was confused. He turned over the card and studied it for a long time, but he couldn't figure out what it was used for. Because the description of this prop is really weird. Effect in that column, it actually prompted insufficient permissions to view. This is the first time Yulin has seen this kind of situation in her 2 lifetimes. It's not that he is too short-sighted, but that no one has ever seen this situation before. How could a void merchant create such a weird thing? Yulin crushed the card. Anyway, if you don't use it, the props can be recarded and won't disappear just because you pinch them casually. Otherwise it would be too confusing. After the prop card materializes, it is still a blueprint. Even though it was a blueprint, it only had the appearance of the house, and the internal structure was not known at all. Without permission, you can't even check the effects. Yulin's face changed slightly and she looked thoughtful. Let's not talk about whether this prop can be used. For 36,000 DP, you can buy an epic level item. You will never suffer a loss or be cheated. But this can't be used. This is the second time Yulin has learned the term authority from another place. The first time was naturally when Yulin was improving her max level module skills. And this time, all involve permissions. But permissions, what exactly do you mean? Yulin opened the Apostle panel again to observe and compare. He was very sure that there was no such column of attributes on the panel. Strange. Yulin murmured to himself. With a thought in his mind, he held the architectural drawings flat in one hand and slapped the drawings with the other hand. Snapped. On the drawing, the small dome house, that is, the time and spirit house, flashed with light. For a moment, when the light flickered, Yulin thought that her slap broke through the tower's restrictions and successfully used the blueprint. But before the light could continue to shine, soon, the light in Yulin's palm suddenly went out. A line of prompts ruthlessly appeared in front of Yulin. Insufficient permissions to use, please try again later. Try again later? Good. Yulin immediately took another photo. Insufficient permissions to use, please try again later. Okay. Later. Shoot again. Insufficient permissions to use, please try again later. Shoot. Insufficient permissions to use, please try again later. Yulin persevered. Taking advantage of her free time, since the prompt said she would try again later, Yulin continued to have sex over and over again. It's not like I'm going to get pregnant anyway. Give it a try. Yulin took pictures of the drawing 49 times in a row. The dome house on the drawing flashed and went out 49 times. Yulin slapped her palm down again. The drawing seemed to be wrinkled by Yulin. The 50th time. For some unknown reason, the prompt in front of Yulin finally changed. Insufficient permissions to use. Please obtain administrative authority above Archon before trying to use it. Archon. The prompt given by Yulin Jianta finally changed, a smile finally appeared on the indifferent face, and she did not take the 51st shot again. No need. Yulin knew from the previous tower's efforts to repair the loopholes that appeared in the trial that this seemingly cold and ruthless machine like Will was not so inflexible. No, when he got tired of taking pictures, he changed his explanation. This saves Yulin from trying endlessly. Although Yulin still doesn't understand what kind of authority the so-called consul has, at this point, it is not without gain. He knew that with his current level, everything he could access about the tower was just the tip of the iceberg. Since the tower had clearly given a reminder that this drawing could not be used without the authority of Archon or above, Yulin did not waste any more time. Yulin reorganized the epic architectural drawing time and spirit cabin drawing that she had picked up after being broken, turned it into a card again, and put it back into the storage space. Although it is an epic item, it may not work. In the end, I don't know whether the Void Merchant made a loss on this purchase or not. Shortly after, the little fat man finally arrived in the capital. He didn't know what reason he used to temporarily throw Suzayasu away. After disguising himself, he sneaked into the capital in a costume that anyone with a discerning eye could recognize. When Molly learned that Yulin's friend was coming to visit, she took some time out of her busy schedule to tidy up and came out to greet him beautifully. "Oh, drink. Not bad." The little fat man took off his wig, mask, and sunglasses, his eyes lit up, but he didn't show any obscene expression. He just smiled and poked Yulin's waist, with an expression of "Brother, I understand, I'm good at it." There are countless eyes on this girl when she is watching the movie professionally in Little Fatty. This girl is tall, has a delicate face, is arrogant, speaks well, and is upright. Apart from her average figure, she is a perfect girlfriend. The little fat man somehow thought of Suzayasu in a lonely boudoir in Huading City. In an instant, classmate Li Erpang shed tears of envy and jealousy in his heart. "Rin, are you a friend? Welcome." Behind Molly, Ling Yi groped around and walked cautiously, with a soft smile on her face. Li Erpang was stunned. This. Ah, this? Ah, this and this? He stood there for a long time. Finally. Suddenly, in front of everyone, Li Erpang hit his chest hard with his rice dumpling-like hooves wrapped in thick gauze, left and right. Bang 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 bang. Beasts, beasts, beasts. Molly. Ling Yi. Yulin. Infinity Throne. Author, by Yi Shueshi. Chapter 338. In the end, Yulin spent a lot of time talking. I can't explain it clearly. Li Erpang kept repeating two words in his mouth. Beasts, beasts, beasts. His expression was dull, and he didn't know what was irritating him. Molly even secretly asked out of curiosity why this little fat guy, who seemed quite honest, had become so stupid for no reason. Could he be Pangenji's patient? Secretly, Molly looked at Yulin with suspicion. Yulin coughed lightly, feeling a little guilty inexplicably, but he quickly explained, he just got married. Maybe the happiness came too suddenly, so he couldn't accept it for a while. Don't worry, he is usually normal and won't bring trouble to you. It's going to be a lot of trouble. That's good, that's good, that's good. Molly briefly greeted her for a while and then continued her work. Normally, it would be difficult for Molly to put down the work at hand no matter who came to the laboratory. But since he is Yulin's friend, he should still be given this face. Molly wasted a full 5 minutes and 29 seconds waiting for guests. At 5 minutes and 30 seconds, Molly looked at the time, stood up, said sorry, and prepared to take Ling Yi away, saying that she wanted to continue treatment. But classmate Li Erpang, who had suffered a mental blow of tens of thousands of tons, didn't notice Molly and Ling Yi leaving at all, and kept repeating those two words. Beasts, beasts, beasts. Because Ling Yi was here, Molly wisely didn't ask any more questions. Before leaving, Molly turned back silently and glanced at Yilin. In those smart eyes, there was a faint emotion called worry. Being as smart as she is, it is not difficult to guess that Yilin will let a fellow come to the laboratory, and it will definitely not be as simple as catching up on old times, drinking tea, and having a rest. Yilin drank 2 cups of coffee. Li Erpang remained expressionless. Yilin didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and said, "How long will you have convulsions? It's unscientific." Li Erpang suddenly felt normal and let out a long sigh. "Finished pretending. I'm pretending to be your sister. I'm really heartbroken. Yours, mine, Weevu." Li Erpang was so grief-stricken that he even had difficulty organizing speech. But the sadness in his heart, as vast as the Pacific Ocean, was expressed very strongly. 2 big tears squeezed out of the corners of his eyes. "I regret it. I hate it. Oh my God. I'm not willing to give in." Li Erpang suddenly turned his head and faced Yilin. His eyes were narrowed, and he couldn't tell clearly what Li Erpang was feeling at the moment. "I only have one last request. If you live to get married, don't tell me." "Why?" "I'm afraid I won't be able to help but beat you to death, beating you to death, very cruel." Next. After Fatty Lee calmed down, Molly arranged a guest room for the little fat man. Molly's laboratory is fully equipped and it is not difficult to temporarily vacate an empty staff dormitory. During this period, after Li Erpang calmed down, Yilin took the time to explain the identities of Molly and Ling Yi. Regarding Ling Yi's identity, Yilin actually still had many questions in her heart. So he simply said, "My childhood sweetheart needs treatment for her eyes." As for Molly, the introduction is simpler. She is the granddaughter of Mo Rendi. What the hell? Who is invincible? Haha, your current immediate boss is invincible. When Li Erpang heard this, he fell silent instantly. The corners of his mouth twitched slightly for a moment, as if he had 1,000 words to say, but he couldn't speak them. In the end, all the words came together into one sentence. Li Erpang patted Yilin on the shoulder and said deeply, "Take care, brother." Yilin didn't understand the meaning of the sentence at the time. After Fatty settled in, he naturally didn't want to provoke Ling Yi and Molly, but he couldn't bear the number of beauties in the laboratory. The little fat man's sad mood was quickly gone. He was active up and down in the laboratory, jumping up and down, and looking familiar. He even held up 2 miserable hooves and pretended to be pitiful in front of the researcher lady in the laboratory to gain sympathy. To be honest, although the little fat guy is a bit wretched, he looks a bit honest and cute on the surface, and he actually had a lot of fun chatting with the ladies. It is said that the little fat man also successfully obtained the contact information of 2 or 3 of the unmarried beautiful researchers. "I didn't expect you to be such a fat Li-er." Yilin started to follow Li Erpang silently, secretly recorded a video of Li Erpang's actions, sent it to Suzayasu, and then ignored Li Erpang who was jumping up and down in the laboratory. It is said that the little fat man almost got into a fight with Lao Pan because he wanted to compete with Lao Pan for his favor and to be a test subject in the hands of his beautiful sister. Yilin also heard that the scene was so intense that Lao Pan even took out Harley Quinn's good friend and rubbed it. Certainly. Yilin only heard about these things after the fact and did not witness them at the scene. While Li Erpang was messing around in the laboratory, Yilin spent most of the time alone, hiding in the practice room, developing telekinesis and studying the application of skills. For the mental side, the way to use skills is not as simple as releasing skills and consuming spiritual energy, Bayu, it's that simple. Just like Shadow Kill. When Yilin was bored, she developed several ways to use shadow kill to force herself to hide in front of the enemy. For example, Yin, scuba diving, empty escape, stacked barriers, etc. The essence of Yilin's combo is to turn into a shadow and at the same time disappear from the opponent's face with the bonus of shadow following. In the future, there will definitely be many situations where you must disappear in front of the enemy. Yilin had no intention of exposing the essence of this combo. By using some magic sight induction principles and adding some simple blinding methods, you can confuse the enemy while also hiding the true face of your abilities. Why not do it? All in all, Yilin is very satisfied with her naming taste. Shadow killing and shadow accompanying, these two skills are really suitable for assassination, and they have a lot of room for operation. The more Yilin uses them, the more satisfied he becomes. While developing skills, Yilin also did not forget to correct the shape of the mind needle. As mentioned before, the shape of the thought needle condensed by Yilin under the premise of castrated version of telekinesis is slightly different from the normal version. There will also be some errors when piercing the corresponding parts. As Yilin's mental attributes improved, his telekinesis became stronger and stronger, gradually approaching the state when he broke through the first level of mental lock. Only the adjusted threading needle can work. Otherwise, if you stab yourself in the head, something will happen in a matter of minutes. In this way. 5 days later. Finally. Yilin felt a sharp, familiar pain from the death mark on her chest. The pain that seemed to crush her heart made Yilin's face turn pale in an instant. But he endured it with an expressionless face. Finally come. No anxiety, no hesitation, no fear. Some are just 9% calm and 1% expectant. He was well prepared. Yilin's current strength is enough to crush her peers. There is nothing to worry about. After confirming that she was about to enter the trial, Yilin did not enter the trial immediately. He put some compressed food, fresh water, wine, and some light daily necessities into the storage space in case of emergency. By the way, I took a shower, changed into clean clothes, blow-dried my hair, and felt dry and comfortable. While Yilin was making final preparations, Li Erpang received Yilin's contact and came to Yilin with a gloomy face without saying a word. At the critical moment, Li Erpang was quite reliable and did not miss the mark and came as promised. The location where Yilin will enter the other world is, as usual, set in a sealed training room. There is no monitoring equipment here, it is for Yilin's exclusive use. Fatty Li sat down on the ground and smiled, it's finally here. Fatty can't wait any longer. After saying that, Fatty Li raised his palms wrapped in thick gauze and added, this life of not being able to use Xiaozhou and Xiao right is simply more uncomfortable than killing Fatty. Ready or not? Yilin asked. No problem, Li Erpang laughed, Li Erpang, never fight an unprepared battle. Yilin believed it for now. After a moment of silence, Yilin took out a card. Li Erpang looked curious, squinted his eyes, and asked, is this the legendary temporary team contract? How many times are there left? The last time. Li Erpang understood immediately and laughed, you got it from the box, right? You're lucky. Good luck. Yilin laughed and said nothing about Li Erpang's words. When Yilin was about to crush the card, Li Erpang suddenly remembered something and looked around with wide eyes. Wait, where is Lao Pan? Lao Pan hasn't come yet. Yilin was slightly stunned, what's wrong with Lao Pan? Didn't you say we would form a team of 3? It's just you and me here. Lao Pan is also in the laboratory. Didn't you ask Lao Pan to join the team? Although, I have some disdain for Lao Pan's mentally retarded child, but it doesn't matter. After I go in and my 2 palms are repaired, I will be able to regain my peak combat power, Li Erpang, and you and I will be 2 together, so there shouldn't be a big problem. Li Erpang raised his plump chin proudly, having strong confidence in his own strength. In the past half-month, Li Erpang ate desperately, eating to death. Although his body shape was not as big as before, he looked a bit short and stocky. But at least the double chin has been exposed, which is a very scary physique. Yilin had a strange expression. When did I say that the third person in this team is Lao Pan? Woof. At this moment, at Yilin's feet, Wang Tiandi lazily raised his paw, as if to say, Wang Tiandi, here. Li Erpang was suddenly startled. Don't you want to tell me? No, he, stop joking, how is it possible? This is unscientific, this is impossible. Lao Pan must be hiding nearby, right? You are such a bad boy. As he spoke, Li Erpang squinted his eyes and looked around, as if he wanted to find Lao Pan hiding in the dark. Yo-ho! It's well hidden. When did Lao Pan have the invisibility skill? Hiding in the gap? Li Erpang's reaction was what Yilin expected. No one would have thought that a dog could be summoned to become an apostle, and the level was not low. This identity is full of surprises. This dog is the third teammate. Yilin shook his head and smiled. Click. Li Er's chubby chin suddenly dropped, and he couldn't get it back together for a while. Yilin didn't explain much. Emperor Wang Tian has arrived at the battlefield and is ready to dispatch at any time. Li Erpang was still in shock and did not react for a long time. Ah, this dog is actually an apostle? How is it possible? It's better to go to Lao Pan. After all, he is a living person, isn't he? What if a dog is accidentally summoned to become an apostle? Why not go to heaven? When Li Erpang had thoughts in his mind, Yilin suddenly crushed the card. Actually, in this temporary team contract, Yilin did hesitate for a long time before deciding on the third person besides Li Erpang. In addition to Li Erpang, there are many choices for men who can team up with Yilin. Yilin had also considered Li Chang'e, Zhu Tianzong, Wang Tiandi, Pan Zhenji, Xing Fei, and even the cunning Gu Tianqing, who would do whatever it took to win. In the end, Yilin chose Emperor Wang Tian. Fortunately, the same sex specified in certificate of bonding does not stipulate that they must be of the same race. Not a human being, it seems okay. After all, Wang Tiandi is a pure male dog. Fortunately, he has not been castrated and his eggs are still intact. After crushing the card, the white light condensed from Yilin's hand and turned into two radiant chains, connecting the three of them. The props were activated, and Li Erpang was crying but could not say a word. The rice has become cooking, the wood has become a boat, and the raw rice has been cooked into rice. Even if Li Erpang feels that he has boarded a pirate ship, it is already too late to get off. Because at the moment when the chain connected the three people, Wang Tiandi and Li Erpang were marked with death, and severe pain was felt at the same time. Trial, call in advance. In a blink of an eye, the two people and the dog, who were linked by the chain, disappeared at the same time. Enter the other world. Familiar scene, familiar taste. Yilin's whole body was wrapped in dazzling white light, and her feet stepped on the void. Loading. Yilin's back stood straight. The scene was already very familiar, so he didn't bother to sigh. I don't know how much time passed. Here, the concept of time is invisibly diluted. Suddenly, a ball of light appeared in front of Yilin's eyes. A sphere made purely of light. Just floating in front of Yilin so strangely. Yilin lowered his head and found that he appeared in a white space. Everything in front of me is white. This situation made Yilin think of a word inadvertently. Nothingness. That's probably what it feels like. What is this ball? Yilin found that she could move. In this vast white world, it seems that only the ball of light in front of you can interact. Another slightly weird start. Yilin did not dare to be careless and slowly stretched her hand towards the ball of light. And the moment Yilin's hand touched the ball of light, A brave man from another world. Yulin couldn't help herself with the opening remarks of the second chapter. He slowly typed a question mark. Infinity Throne. Author, by Yi Shueshi. Chapter 339. Brave. Let's not talk about this second sentence. In front of Yulin, in this vast and pure white space, the ball of light in front of Yulin appeared very strangely. He has already entered the trial? But, it doesn't quite look like it. Before Yulin even had time to notice when the loading process of entering the trial ended, the ball of light suddenly appeared in front of Yulin's eyes. When he stretched out his hand, such strange words came from all around. But Yulin felt that these words did not actually come from the light ball. But that vast sound, like the Sanskrit sound of initiation, ripples in this space. Etc. Hand. Yulin noticed another thing. He obviously had the idea of reaching out his hand. He also successfully came into contact with the ball of light. That's why there were sounds all around. However, when Yulin observed carefully, she was surprised to find that his hand did not actually exist. Not just hands. His body and limbs do not exist in this space at all. So what did he use to touch this ball of light? Conscious body? Soul? Such an idea flashed through Yulin's mind. In fact, in front of the light ball, he now doesn't even have the organ brain at all. Cogito ergo sum. Actually, I exist here in the form of thinking. Yulin savored this mysterious feeling. This feeling of purely spiritual existence, separated from the physical body, is so mysterious that Yulin is unknowingly intoxicated with it. Welcome to the resting place, brave man from another world. The voice sounded again. Resting place? Different world? Yulin came back to her senses from this strange spiritual existence state. He quickly extracted the intelligence and information in that voice. Yulin currently has no body, in other words, she cannot move. Whether he reaches out, kicks his legs, raises his head, shakes his shoulders, all his actions actually originate from imagination and thinking. But it is imagination and thinking that allow Yulin to have some form of interaction with the ball of light. This opening is a bit interesting. Yulin laughed, but he didn't respond and just waited to see what happened. That voice, as vast as heaven and earth, sounded again when Yulin didn't respond. A brave man from another world, you may feel hesitant, anxious, and doubtful now, but you are here as a guide of fate, so there is no need to worry. Hesitant. Anxiety. Confuse. Non-existent. Yulin was silent for a moment. Question, am I dead? Yes. You finally understand. Got it? Yulin curled her lips. Of course, all his current expressions and movements actually don't exist. It was all his own imagination. Cogito ergo sum. He can't die. Yulin was thinking about how he would enter the trial world this time. But since this ball calls this place its resting place, it should have something to do with the background of this trial. Not very auspicious. Who are you? Yulin asked again. This is the normal process for obtaining intelligence. Anyway, it seems that there is no danger for the time being. The main quest has not been released either. The ball of light made another vast sound that echoed throughout the space, saying, I have no name. You can call me a guide, or you can call me an elf, or, God. Guide. Elf. God. 3 titles with very different styles. But the last name made Yulin take another step in his mind. While in the Caribbean, that cursed collective, Calypso, also called himself a god. In Yulin's opinion, how can gods be so cheap? They are everywhere in the streets. It's expanded. Yulin shook her head and smiled. Although he has no head now. But he still laughed. Why are you laughing? The ball of light and Yulin seemed to be in a state of spiritual connection. When Yulin thought of smile, The ball of light noticed Yilin's thoughts and asked. Haha, it's nothing. You continue. What else is there to do? Upon hearing this, Guankai didn't ask any more questions. Suddenly, from the light ball, a soft light floated out, and its shape changed in front of Yilin's consciousness, turning into a piece of paper. It is said to be paper, but it is more like an existence similar to a screen. Seeing that the plot in front of her had changed again, Yilin quickly browsed the paper. It doesn't matter if you don't see it. Upon seeing it, Yilin was slightly startled. He felt that his existence seemed to be slightly shaken. Add a questionnaire. That's right. On the piece of paper in front of Yilin, there was a questionnaire. Yilin felt that the style of painting here was getting weirder and weirder. Is this the process? A question flashed in Yilin's mind. But he still quickly browsed the contents of the questionnaire. First of all, name, gender, age. This? Yilin suddenly felt like filling out forms when applying for a job in a company in real society. Although he didn't fill it out, Yilin filled it in truthfully. This should be nothing to think about. Hobbies, zodiac sign, date of birth, shape, appearance, personality, etc. Yilin suddenly became suspicious. Was he really in the trial? Why does it feel weird? But after thinking about it, Yilin's current situation, she has lost her body and cannot even use any abilities, so she can only fill out this plain questionnaire. He had already tried it just now, and he couldn't use all the functions of the tower. This state made Yilin feel very insecure. But there was nothing we could do. But what is the point of this seemingly ordinary questionnaire? Even if it were a real census, it wouldn't be so ridiculously detailed. When Yilin filled out the questionnaire, the voice of the light ball fell completely silent. There was no other movement. Yilin even wanted to slap him, kick him, touch him twice and other interactions, but he couldn't complete it. With no other choice, Yilin could only fill it out truthfully. Well-proportioned body shape, outstanding appearance, and kind personality. Well, Yilin felt like she was being honest. The questionnaire continues. If you had a choice, would you rather come and go like the wind, or use your body of steel to protect your companions from harm, or use the power of the gods to protect your companions? Facing a monster, if you attack, you will choose the front, side, back, crotch, anus. How would you deal with a very powerful monster that might kill you? A. Head-on attack. B. Strike first and then charge head-on. C. Sneak attack, drugging, assassination, using simple language to shake the monster's will. The questions are getting weirder and weirder. But Yilin's heart became more and more solemn. I don't dare to choose randomly. Because he has been vaguely aware of the intrigue behind this questionnaire. Although the questionnaire was floating in front of Yilin in the form of paper. But for the survey questions above, the next question will appear only after Yilin completes one question. Some techniques for answering multiple choice questions, such as going back and choosing after reading the questions at the end, cannot be used at all in front of this kind of questionnaire. Yilin did the questions carefully. He suddenly remembered that if Little Fatty and Wang Tiandi had the same start, I hope they could detect the fishiness in this process as soon as possible, otherwise. Yilin didn't dare to think about the consequences. I hope everyone is okay. Finally, the multiple choice questions are over. Yilin was bombarded by a large sea of questions and became dizzy. He couldn't imagine how a piece of paper that didn't look very big could accommodate such a large question bank. Sure enough, spiritual communication cannot be measured by common sense. Yilin sighed. The ball of light still didn't respond. On the questionnaire, the screen changed from multiple choice questions to fill in the blank questions. Please choose your 5 favorite skills. Really? The moment this question appeared, it was equivalent to confirming Yilin's guess about this trial from the side. With 5 skills, the restriction is not too big. The strengthening of comprehension should not be included in these 5 skill categories. This questionnaire looks like it is just a survey, but in fact it is very likely that it is a process of creating a role. Good for you. Yilin didn't dare to be careless. Except for strengthening, Yilin has every plan and currently only has 6 skills. At this stage, other apostles should be able to draw many useful and useless skills, or some passive skills, etc. At this time, they should be in a difficult situation to choose. But Yilin didn't have such worries. Choosing 5 out of 6, Yilin only needs to eliminate 1 skill. But it's so difficult. Shadow Kill and Shadow Follower, as perfect supporting skills, Yilin must fill them in. Summon Mount Night Dire. Being able to summon a Night Dire in the trial is equivalent to increasing combat power for no reason, and Yilin naturally cannot not fill it up. Disaster Haunted, as a control skill that can kill without blind spots, can definitely come in handy at critical moments. Moreover, this skill has been with Yilin to this day, allowing Yilin to trap and kill many monsters. It is very easy to use, and naturally it is not easy to use. May be abandoned. Leftover. Grasp of Annihilation, Bloodthirsty Catastrophe. After using the elimination method, it seems that Yilin has no choice. Then he quickly filled in Shadow Kill, Shadow Follower, Summon Mount Night Dire, Disaster Haunting, and Annihilation Grasp. Not to mention that Bloodthirsty Catastrophe has too many side effects, and basically it can only be used in the last few minutes of a trial. If this skill is used in the middle of the trial, if it cannot destroy everything, the effect of the skill will be over. Under the terrible side effects, Yilin will be at the mercy of others, and the price/performance ratio is not high. Give up, give up. What are your 5 favorite personal items? 5 items. After careful consideration, Yilin also made a choice. Finally, finished answering questions. After completing the entire questionnaire, Yilin felt as if she had exhausted all her life's energy, feeling exhausted and depressed. The questions are too difficult. Of course, this is just an illusion. In Yilin's current state, she shouldn't feel this tired. Character creation completed. All of a sudden, from the vast space, streams of light converged into a handsome man with blonde hair in front of Yilin's consciousness. The man was naked. His well-proportioned figure perfectly matched the golden proportions of the human body. His perfect skin even shone with light, which was dizzying and dazzling. Not bad. Yilin was very satisfied. Welcome to Uranus. Resist bad games and reject false games. Pay attention to self-protection and be careful not to be deceived. Moderate game benefit the brain, indulge game beverages. Arrange your time reasonably and enjoy a healthy life. Wish you a happy game. Zzz. Suddenly, in this vast space, there was a sizzling sound. Just when Yilin's spirit was about to take on the perfect role, bursts of noisy noises came from the surrounding space. Immediately afterwards, Yilin's retina. A prompt appears. Tips from the tower. Welcome to Uranus. In this world, there are gods, the sky, the sea of clouds, the old world, and giant beasts. In this world, there are adventurers, sky pirates, salvagers, chambers of commerce, and churches. You will experience an unforgettable adventure. It has been detected that 3 apostles are using the temporary team contract in the next trial. The difficulty of the trial will be increased in some way, so please pay attention. In order to increase the immersive experience, relevant memories and functions will be temporarily sealed. Please be mentally prepared in time for Apostle 1010. Wish you a happy trial. I wish you come back alive. I wish you good luck in martial arts. This, etc. Be mentally prepared, sister. Etc. Danger. The ball of light that originally looked harmless to humans and animals instantly turned into a sea of pure white light, drowning Yilin. Before being overwhelmed by the light, Yilin accidentally discovered that the perfect character she had pinched was actually broken. Instead, it was Yilin, his own face. Yilin. Why are you dazed? Come and help. Come on. A young man with a unique appearance, dressed like a boy, sweating all over his body, nimbly shuttled among the crowd in the tavern. Hey, Meg, your new attendant is very nimble. Come on, I'll give you a reward. Get 5G. Yilin heard a ding in her ear. A dented coin fell into his pocket and disappeared. Yilin responded with a smile, this guest, you are so generous. He, that must be. Yilin casually handed over the bubbly Martin Rocco and turned around to leave. When leaving, Yilin murmured in a low voice that no one could hear, it's only 5G, and with such little mosquito legs, it's hard to pretend to be a gentleman. Table 3, Carol pie. Table number 4, roasted lamb leg. Table number 6, stir-fried flaming flying snake roll. Yilin received a lot of tips again. Certainly. All mosquito legs. Get add 1G. Get add 3G. Get add 2G. Get. All day long. Yilin's wealth has skyrocketed from 126G to 188G, which is gratifying. But it seems that the cheapest and most basic beginner's dagger in the weapons shop costs 1000G, which is very expensive. This game's currency system is unscientific. Yilin hid in the kitchen and was lazy. Thinking of the 3 days of gaming, she felt very helpless. Take advantage of no one. Yilin's expression was condensed, and she traced her fingers downward from top to bottom in front of her body. A panel that only he could see appeared in front of Yilin's eyes. Character Yilin. Sex, male. Age 1/8. Grade 1. Experience 0245/1000, 24.5%. Occupation none. HP 126/126. Crystal energy value 255/255. Strength 4.2. Agility 5.0. Spirit 8.5. Will 8.0. Lucky 2.6. Charm 1.4. Talent skills haunted by disaster, follow like a shadow, shadow kill, grasp of annihilation, summon Mount Night Dire. God-given skills none. He has been thinking about this panel for 3 days. It has been 3 days since he came to this world called Uranos. In the past 3 days, Yilin, besides working in the tavern in this Rebu town, has been thinking about 3 very serious philosophical issues. Who I am. Where am I? What am I going to do? Every time these 3 questions flashed through Yilin's mind, he always felt that his doubts seemed to be pretentious. But in fact, he really wanted to know the answer. He doesn't remember who he is. He didn't remember why he was here. He doesn't know the reason why he appears in this world. When he woke up, he was lying on the crowded street like an idiot, with a confused look on his face. Have you lost your memory? Adventurer. Oh no, you don't have a weapon. Ah, once upon a time, I was also an adventurer wandering into the sea of clouds, until I got an arrow in my knee. After Yilin lay in a daze on the street for 10 minutes, he was stopped by several amiable town guards, saying that the city lord had an order not to sleep on the street without any reason. The guards also pointed out a clear path for Yilin, saying that after 100 meters, turn right and then turn right. After 20 meters, the Love and Peace Tavern on the right is recruiting attendants, so he can try it and seek help. Livelihood. Of course, if it were just the above-mentioned encounters, Yilin, who had lost his memory, might still think that he had traveled through time. Doesn't it seem to be a normal thing to travel through time? Until a shining golden exclamation point popped up above the head of the smiling guard. It's very gold and bright, with built-in sound effects, and it's blindingly bright. At that moment, Yilin suddenly burst into tears. From the memories, Yilin's thoughts returned to the present. For some reason, Yilin always had an illusion. He seems to be very comfortable with this kind of part-time job in a tavern, and he can go straight to work without any training. Deal with all kinds of drunkards with stability and tact. This skillful technique made the landlady Meg praise her all day long, which made Yilin feel a little embarrassed. Moreover, the character of the boss lady also gave Yilin a strange sense of familiarity. It seemed like I had seen something similar somewhere. Hiccup. The landlady walked into the room drunkenly, burping from wine, and locked the door tightly. Shortly after, the sound of singing came from the bedroom of the proprietress, who was alone in the empty boudoir. It was already late at night when Yilin finished the closing work. He silently looked at his props, and the money column had increased by a few cents. Yilin hid in her small room, slid her finger down, and opened her personal panel again. The panel functions are very complete. There are 6 major interfaces: attribute, equipment, props, task, log, system. It's just like a Krypton Gold web game, but it's a little more realistic. Yilin looked at these interfaces and couldn't help but complain from the bottom of her heart. Huh? I obviously lost my memory inexplicably, but why do I know the style of the Krypton Gold web game? Yilin quickly noticed the information inadvertently revealed in her words and fell into deep thought. Recently, Yilin found out a lot of information. After all, no matter which world it is in, taverns are always a mixed place. This is a strange world. The technological level of the entire world seems to revolve around 2 technologies, crystal and steam power. And from the mouths of some drunkards who seemed to be well-dressed and relatively generous, Yilin also vaguely heard giant beast, Kyukai, ruins, magic sword and other strange words whose meanings were not clear for the time being. In short, this is not the world Yilin is familiar with. Although he lost his memory. But what they said gave Yilin an instinctive sense of strangeness. He doesn't belong here. Of course, the most important thing is, this is a game world. Yilin subconsciously tapped her forehead with her left hand. A patch of skin on my forehead felt cool to the touch, and I didn't know if it was due to some skin disease. But that's not important. Not to mention, this feeling of being able to pick off the dead skin and not being able to remove it is really addictive. While Yilin habitually picked at the dead skin on his forehead, he quickly moved his other hand across various function panels. Rowing until the end. System. How many lines does the system interface have? It seems there are some features that haven't been unlocked yet. And at the bottom of the menu, there is a logout button, but it is gray and has a different color than the other buttons. Yilin had already discovered this gray button. I have tried pressing it many times, but nothing happened. Yilin is very calm now. So calm that he even found it terrifying. The logout button is broken. Being unable to log out means that he cannot return to the game. This is obviously a very strange situation. But Yilin himself didn't know why. It seemed that he was very adaptable to and even enjoyed this strange situation. Yilin was vaguely aware that in the real world, his mental state might, maybe, seemed, not normal. But it's useless to think about it now. Yilin calmly began to pick at the dead skin while analyzing. I should be a gamer, well, let's think so for now. It is also possible that it is some kind of experimental subject, artificial intelligence or the like. Of course, this possibility is very small. My memory loss should not be an accident, otherwise it would be impossible to explain my current complete separation of memory from common sense and cognition. I can't recall everything about the real world, but there are no obstacles to the logical reasoning, values, and use of common sense parts. Suppose I am a high-end gamer and I am trapped in a game world for some special reason. For now, it is tentatively determined that this dilemma can be broken. Otherwise, the following inferences will be meaningless. Yulin continued to pick at the dead skin, recalling the pitiful memories she had in her mind. I only remember, Yulin, am 18 years old, Aries, with a well-proportioned body, outstanding appearance, and a kind personality. Kind. Although Yulin still has doubts every time she thinks about her perception that she has a kind personality, and feels a little weird. But there shouldn't be anything wrong with cognition, that's how it should be. If even this most basic cognition is deviated, then the inference will return to the original starting point. Returning to the origin of who am I, the whole thinking is completely trapped in an endless loop with no solution. Suppose I am trapped in the game world for some inevitable reason, then what I need to do, is to get through this world. It should be similar to, doing a task or something. Yulin thought about it and opened the task panel again. The task panel is divided into two sub-menu bars, main task and side task. The main mission was empty, and Yulin did not receive it. As for side mission, a lot has been accomplished in these 3 days. They are all small tasks such as serving tea and water, arriving at the destination, etc. The task rewards are tasteless and boring. Yulin didn't bother to look. Currently, it seems that in order to figure out why I am trapped in the game world, the first thing I have to do is to get in touch with this world more deeply, go deeper into this game world, and finally, complete the level. Maybe, when the time comes, there will be a way out of this game world. Suppose I have a body. Yulin lowered his head, unconsciously picking at the dead skin on his forehead with his fingers, and murmured in a low voice, "My current body should be in a life support cabin?" Wait, I think since Hilly has the concept of a life support cabin, then by inference, I should be a human being. Yulin suddenly found another piece of evidence about I am a human being, not a mess of existences such as artificial intelligence and consciousness. Another important point is that my status as a trapped player is not the only one in this world. It would be interesting if there were other players who are also trapped in the game world. Haha. Yulin laughed inexplicably. Even he himself couldn't figure out why. Interesting. Correct. It's interesting. But why do you find it interesting? Obviously this should be a situation that should make people despair to the point of committing suicide. In reality, am I a pervert? Yulin lowered his head and pondered, analyzing calmly, and he was extremely frightened when he thought about it. Never mind. For now, it's useless to think too much. According to those drunkards, there are many monsters in the wilderness outside Rabtown. These should be the monsters in the game. When I tried to leave the town before, the guard gave a friendly reminder, "Please equip your weapons before venturing out of the town." This should be considered a friendly reminder from the NPC in the game world. One thing I still need to figure out is that I am trapped in this world as a player. Will I be resurrected once I die? Once the health value drops to 0, what will happen? Maybe, die. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Infinity Throne. Author, by Yi Shueshi. Chapter 340. Yulin was curious though. But it's impossible to try it with your own health. And he always has an almost obsessive feeling. Anyway. No matter when. No matter where. Neither can let the health value return to 0. This obsession, like having to wipe your butt when going to the toilet, forms instinct and muscle memory. I pondered in the room for a while. About there. Yulin estimated the time. Then he quietly slipped out of the door. The moment I opened the door, because the wooden door was too old, it made a very harsh beep sound in the dead night. Yulin was so frightened that her movements froze instantly. If the boss lady finds out, just tell her to get up and urinate at night. Yulin had already made up a perfect reason in her mind in an instant. Well, perfect. Yulin listened intently. Next door is the room of Meg, the landlady. After the singing stopped, a thick purr came from behind the crack in the door. He could even imagine the sleeping posture inside. Spreading her thighs, wearing a nightgown, sleeping in a very bad posture, and it's still shining. Such a picture appeared in Yulin's mind for no apparent reason. Ruth, something is wrong with you. Yulin subconsciously said this to the darkness, completely relieved. But Yulin just took a few more steps, then paused. Ruth, who is it? Yulin frowned, with a confused expression. At that moment, perhaps because some familiar scenes touched Yulin's memory, Yulin accidentally said an unfamiliar name without knowing why. Yulin paused for a full 10 seconds. That weird sense of déjà vu disappeared in an instant. It's like a flash of inspiration appears and then disappears, unable to be captured, observed, or recalled. Yulin knew very well that his state of memory loss was by no means unusual. But there was nothing we could do. Yulin discovered something else. He seemed very familiar with it, even used to the sneaky state. Although it's embarrassing to say it, he seems to be very good at sneaking. Yulin comes to the street. Almost without thinking, he skillfully lurked in the shadows and advanced through them. It seems like instinct, and like an innate talent. I don't feel like a normal person. In the darkness, Yulin pondered. Could it be that I am a very, very, very high-end player? Yulin made another guess about her true identity. This kind of speculation without evidence can of course only remain at the theoretical level and serve as a reference for future actions and cannot be demonstrated. I can only wait for the day when my memory is restored and see if my idea is right. On the street. Empty. Ah, the moon is very big. It's like a big white bud hanging high in the sky. There were many stars in the sky, but strangely, there was no cloud at all. Not a single cloud. Although Yulin had no memory of the real world, he subconsciously noticed that the scenery seemed a bit unusual. It is somewhat different from the common sense in cognition. On the street, the uneven bluestones reflect the moonlight, which is not too dark. From time to time, there are simple guards patrolling the streets. But perhaps because Yulin's sneaking was so skillful and stealthy, none of the guards noticed that there was a tavern waiter quietly lurking in the shadows in the blind corner of the street. Soon, Yulin followed the expected route and came to the weapons shop. The weapons store door was locked. There is a sign hanging on it. Business hours, 8 o'clock -21:00. Obviously, it's late at night and it's a time for closing. At this time, in the distance, a moving fire approached Yulin's direction. A long shadow was cast in the direction where Yulin was hiding. Very conspicuous. Yulin's heart moved, and with a swish, she quickly hid in the shadows. Hey, I heard that there seemed to be more monsters outside the city recently. Indeed, that's why the city lord asked us to step up patrols to ensure that monsters cannot break through the city gate. I heard that not long ago, an empty boat of the Wuma Chamber of Commerce was attacked by a mysterious monster in the Kanhai. The Salvagemen's Association is sending many professional salvagers to salvage in the sea. I don't know if anyone has survived. I hope he's okay. Two tough-looking guards wearing heavy armor held bright torches to illuminate the surrounding darkness. They chatted in low voices and passed by not far from the weapons store. The torch was very bright, but Yulin was so skilled at hiding her figure that even such a bright torch failed to illuminate Yulin. I feel a little bit awesome. After the two guards left far away, Yulin lowered her head and was slightly surprised. Of course, it's not that he's inflated. But he was a little surprised. This almost instinctive behavior made him lament his operation level and game skills. Anyway. Thousands of words condensed into 2 words. Awesome. In Yulin's cognition, these 2 words should not be an organ, but a word full of admiration. Safe around. Yilin felt a little strange. The routes patrolled by these guards are both fixed and mindless. Holding a torch is like a beacon in the dark night, as if you are afraid that others will not see you. This is not called patrolling, this is called walking. Maybe this is the game mechanism. Yilin initially speculated that this should be an MMORPG, which is a large-scale role-playing game, rather than an action stealth game. That's why the guard's anti-stealth technology seemed to be full of loopholes and not worth mentioning in front of the high-end player Yilin. The monsters they call are probably the monsters in the game, right? There are more mobs. Isn't it just right? You can gain experience. A strong sense of déjà vu in an RPG game. Yilin secretly complained, and after the guards patrolled by, he came to the door of the weapons store again. Be reasonable. 1000 G is outrageous for a mediocre little dagger. Under normal circumstances, it would be difficult for Yilin to dig out more branches even if she risked her life day and night, rain or shine, and risked her life to gather Meg's wife's wool. The side missions Yilin has completed in the past few days, the mission rewards are really touching. Very poor value for money. Might as well go kill monsters. But you must have weapons to spawn monsters. This is another endless cycle. Yilin feels that this seems to be a bug in the game design. It can't be that as soon as the player is born, he has to repeat this meaningless errand task until he can afford to buy the first weapon and then run out of the city gate to spawn monsters. If Yilin really came to experience the customs of this game, then forget it. It's a pity that Yilin is only thinking about how to make the logout button in the system menu light up. Fortunately, I have innate skills. Yilin closed her eyes and began to meditate. He has also tried the feeling of using skills in his room for the past 3 days, and now it is not unfamiliar to him. And for some unknown reason, he always felt that the use of these skills seemed to be connected to his flesh and blood. With almost no effort, Yilin mastered the use of 2 of the skills and how to use them. Shadow kill. Yilin thought. In an instant. A huge living person, his body twisted on the ground and his color faded. After blinking again, Yilin turned into a strange shadow on the ground and slipped in through the crack of the weapon shop door. It was very strange. If this scene was seen by the patrolling guards, they might mistakenly think it was some kind of monster outside the city, sneak in, and even cause a commotion. It is possible that the guards were so angry that they turned the weapons store upside down. A night of silence. The next day, Yilin got up early, mopping the floor and cleaning the tavern diligently. Oh, it's so early. Meg, dressed coolly with a sling hanging from her chest, came out sleepily. When she found Yilin cleaning in the store, her expression was slightly startled, but she still praised him without hesitation. Yilin had a kind expression and said with a smile, "Go to bed early and get up early to keep yourself healthy." Don't you want a tip again?" Meg suddenly took a step back warily. In the past few days, she had been really frightened by this man who used various methods to ask for money. No, today, free service." Yilin shook her head, humming a song, and looked at the clock on the wall from time to time. Meg looked around for a long time, wondering if Yilin didn't want money today, so it looked quite pleasing to the eye. Right now. The hands of the clockwork clock just passed 08:00. There was a noise in the street. Yilin heard this. Throwing the mop and bucket aside as quickly as possible, he quickly said, "Boss lady, it seems something happened outside. Let me help you check it out." "Don't worry, it's free of charge." Finished. Meg didn't even have time to react. He didn't have time to refuse Yilin's kindness. After all, she wanted to go out and find out why it was so noisy. This? How can you take away a woman's natural tendency to chase gossip? Meg was suddenly very angry. Yilin didn't bother to understand Meg's mood and rushed out of the Love and Peace Tavern. He walked quickly, following the sound and the route in his memory. On the road, many pedestrians were attracted by the early morning movement, and they gathered around Yilin, constantly gathering in that direction. Far away. In front of the weapons store. The three inner and outer circles were filled with people eating melons. The belated guards were working hard to evacuate the crowd and maintain order in Labutown. In the middle of the crowd, a wailing voice reached everyone's ears very clearly. Cry so loudly, so loudly. Yilin silently activated another of his innate skills. Following like a shadow. Following like a shadow. Type active, map, continuous, combat. Consumption 3 crystal energy. Effect behind the target or hidden in shadows, the sense of presence is reduced by 100%. Used in battle, it will not easily become the target of enemy attacks and lasts for 5 rounds. Although the effect of this skill is a bit strange, Yilin plans to try it out when she gets the chance to see what it would be like to have her presence reduced by 100%. After releasing the skill, Yilin found that a black shadow icon appeared in the upper right corner of the UI interface in front of her, which was very conspicuous. The light in the field of vision in front of her suddenly dimmed, making Yilin suddenly feel like she was being ignored by the whole world. After releasing the skill, suddenly no one noticed Yilin. Yilin easily passed through the chaotic crowd and saw a middle-aged, fat, and gorgeously dressed businessman in the crowd, who was kneeling on the ground and crying miserably. Ah! My goods! All my goods are gone. What should I do? This is the stuff I spent a lot of money to buy from the Chamber of Commerce. I lost all my money. How come it was all stolen? I'm so miserable. Yilin coughed twice and turned off the skill. This confused businessman, do you need help? Yilin tried his best to show a kind smile, which was exactly in line with the persona he perceived. Hearing the sound in his ear, the sad businessman raised his head blankly. No. Did I guess wrong? Yilin carefully knocked from the side again and asked slowly, do you need help? For example, help to find stolen weapons or something. The blank-eyed businessman's eyes lit up after hearing these words. Ding! A pleasant sound rang in Yilin's ears. At the same time, a shining golden exclamation point popped up from above the businessman's forehead very suddenly. Yilin smiled. Very kind. Ding! Yilin quickly stopped smiling. In order to avoid any bad misunderstandings caused by the heartbroken NPC businessman in front of him. But this tinkling sound is so sweet. Accept the side mission, The Troubles of the Arms Dealer in Rabtown. Task difficulty, D-. Task time limit, none. Task reward, 1500 G, EXP add 3000 specific beginner's weapon *1. Yilin moved her fingers down to open the panel. In the task submenu, the side task column indeed has a side task of The Troubles of the Arms Dealer in Rabtown. Really? Since there are no tasks, create tasks yourself. Complete the task by the way. Yilin silently praised her intelligence. After all, this is different from backward games played with keyboard and mouse. According to Yilin's subconscious cognition, since this game world called Uranos can be made so lifelike, when practicing in the game, you must not think about the problem in the usual way. Only by thinking more and trying more can you discover your blind spots. No, Yilin found a way to create tasks by himself. Yilin silently wrote down this experience. The weapons dealer is troubled, those piles of lost weapons are all in Yilin's props column. A spear, a one-handed sword, a two-handed sword, a fighting claw, a dagger, a two-handed staff, a one-handed staff, a shield, and a long whip. The weapon prefixes are all XXX for beginners. It seems that this Labutown is like a novice village in the game. The weapons for sale are low-grade goods. Although there is nothing good, at least Yilin will be able to get the qualification to leave the city after equipping the weapon. Certainly. With the two skills of following like a shadow and shadow killing, Yilin can also leave the town and reach the wild anytime and anywhere. But the guards also said that there were powerful monsters in the wild, and Yilin didn't want to take such a risk without weapons. Since it is a game, players must abide by certain rules, such as creating their own tasks. It may not be a bug, but one of the rules. Yilin casually comforted the weapons merchant with a few words. By the way, I would like to complain about the difficulty of this task. See if you can use this method to persuade people with good words, convince people with reason, and increase the rewards of tasks. But no matter how Yilin deceived her, she couldn't make the sad weapons dealer change his mind. It seems to be saying, this is the reward, it's up to you. Yilin tried for a while, but when she saw that she couldn't get more wool, she had to give up. Weapons cannot be returned to the weapons dealer for the time being. After all, he just took the task with his front foot and completed it instantly with his back foot. NPCs in this game world have to be so stupid to not notice anything fishy. And it's not necessary. For the lowest level E-level side tasks such as running errands, delivering letters, and flattering the boss lady, the gold coin rewards and experience points rewards are only in the tens of digits. For this D-level side mission, the gold coin rewards and experience points rewards have gone up several levels. It seems that the currency system of this game is indeed a bit broken. Yilin walks on the road. Guards were already inside the weapons store investigating. See if we can find the murderer. The fat weapons store owner was still crying in front of the store, which made everyone sad and tearful. After Yilin mourned for a few seconds, she silently left the weapons shop. These 9 pieces of beginner equipment are priced at 1000 G. If they can be sold to a store for recycling, they will be discounted by half and can only be sold for 500 G, even if they are brand new from the factory. In other words, if these 8 novice weapons are sold back to the weapons dealer, they can get 4000 G gold coins. But if you hand it all back to complete the side mission, it will only be 1500 G. The 2500 G lost is equivalent to 3000 EXP. I don't know if it is cost effective. Yilin looked at the attribute panel. Currently he is still a level 1 rookie. The experience value required to advance to the next level is 1000 EXP. I don't know how much experience is required for subsequent upgrades. However, the common game experience of killing monsters, upgrading and completing tasks, although Yilin feels a bit unfamiliar, in terms of cognition, it does not seem to be an outrageous setting. It is still within the range that Yilin can accept. Forget it, let's leave the city later and see how difficult it is to kill the mobs. Yilin closed her eyes. A moment of recollection. But that memory seal seemed too complete. Yilin had no memory of this aspect at all, so it was impossible to compare. Next. Yilin did not return to the tavern. He walked around a few street corners, then silently opened the props column and equipped the beginner's dagger. The beginner's dagger. Rarity. Category weapons. Part main hand, deputy hand. Attribute attack power at 1, main hand, attack power at 0.5, off hand. Effect none. Durability 50/50. Attributes are really just novice equipment. Yilin only glanced at it and then casually equipped it on the main hand position in the equipment column. Although this game is realistic, the equipment system is really rough, and there are not too many messy parts to equip. From head to toe, they are head, body, feet, main hand, deputy hand, accessories. Among them, 2 pieces can be equipped in the accessories position. In other words, there are 7 holes to fill in total. Only the equipment column of these 7 parts can provide attribute bonuses. Others, such as wrists, socks, underwear, eye masks, breast cups, etc., according to Yulin's speculation, should be able to be equipped in the accessories space, providing players with limited attribute bonuses. But what exactly is the concept of attack power add 1? Without personal experience, Yulin couldn't explain clearly. I'll try it with a monster later. After Yulin equipped the beginner's dagger, a sheath knife with a simple shape that seemed to be used only for scraping was hung on Yulin's waist, which was quite conspicuous. Equipped with weapons, Yulin seems to have completed the transformation from civilian to adventurer. I don't know if it was an illusion, but Yulin felt that the passers-by around her looked at her a little differently, with a trace of envy. Lebu town is not large. After all, it's just a novice village. While the weapons dealer was crying, a large number of guards and passers-by were attracted. Instead, the streets became empty. Yulin came to the church unhurriedly. After obtaining the weapon, Yulin started to play the game step by step based on the intelligence collected in the past 3 days. There was no one else in the church except a tightly wrapped young nun and an old priest. Inside, on the wall directly in front, there is a colorful translucent window. It is said to be made of crystal. The sunlight is refracted by the 7-color crystal, and the gorgeous rainbow light shines on a milky white goddess statue. Yulin suddenly felt that while this goddess statue was solemn, it also gave people the direct look of a shy girl waiting to be married. "Welcome, adventurer from afar." When the old priest saw someone stepping into the church, his eyes rested on the dagger on Yulin's waist for a moment, and then a kind smile appeared on his face. Yulin pouted. As expected, the situation is completely different now that he is equipped with weapons. On the second day after arriving in this world of Uranos, Yulin had already been here when she learned in the tavern that she could be blessed in the church. It was also this old man NPC at that time. He simply said, "The outside world is too dangerous and not suitable for you, the weakling," and persuaded Yulin to be kicked out. No. When equipped with weapons, he becomes a proud adventurer, and Yulin can afford this pride. Yulin puffed up his chest, and according to a drunkard's description, he pressed his fist tightly on his heart and smiled slightly. "Uranos, I'll accept the blessing." "Child. Are you determined to stick to your original intention and stick to the path of adventure no matter in any dangerous place or in the face of mission monsters?" The priest was not surprised by Yulin's purpose of coming. He took out a book with a red cover and a white crystal inlaid on the cover, which was 20 centimeters thick, from his robe. Crystal holds a very important position in this game world. Yulin's eyes narrowed slightly. He could tell that the book in the NPC's hand should be a piece of equipment. He looked up again. "Look at the 7-color crystal on the church wall. I don't know if it's worth it." The priest was stunned. "What did you say?" "I mean, I've made my decision." The priest of Labtown Church did not hear Yulin's soliloquy clearly. He did not even expect that a little adventurer would dare to covet the church's crystal, so he didn't think much about it. After confirming Yulin's determination, she covered the milky white crystal with her wrinkled palm. In an instant, between the priest's fingers, soft white light came out. "May Uranos bless you, child." Snapped. The priest slapped Yulin on the head. The milky white light enveloped Yulin, and the priest also closed his eyes and muttered something, but he didn't know what he was talking about. "It's like some kind of ritual." God. For some reason, while Yulin was undergoing the ceremony, this heavy word suddenly flashed through her mind. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Above Yulin's head, the white light turned into balls of light, condensing silently. When the first ball of light condensed, the priest's expression was quite calm. The second ball of light, wonder appeared in the priest's eyes. The third one, the priest's expression twisted into a chrysanthemum, as if he was horrified. The fourth one, the priest's whole body twitched, he was so excited that he couldn't control himself. The fifth one, The priest burst into tears immediately, like a child. Yulin. Kid, take off your shoes quickly. Yulin. The priest quickly put away his hand, his fingers trembling slightly, as if he was trying to suppress some emotion. His lips moved quickly and shook for a while before he said something that left Yulin confused. Take off your shoes? Is there such a process? A question flashed in Yulin's mind. It seems that the drunkards never mentioned this process. To be given a career, an adventurer must receive blessings from the gods in a church. After receiving the blessing, the priest will give the adventurer a corresponding occupation based on his talent. Yulin felt that this should be similar to the process of changing jobs in the game. This level of cognition does not seem to disappear with memory loss. Yulin took off her shoes. Bare feet. The priest seemed more anxious than Yulin, and he immediately turned Yulin's feet over. Yulin looked slightly stunned. Be reasonable. He never looked at the bottom of his feet. In fact, every normal human being, apart from picking at the skin of his feet, would not be so bored as to look at the soles of his feet when they have nothing to do. Sure enough. It's the brave man, the brave man. Our Ranos is on top, the brave man has actually appeared. The priest's face was red, his blood pressure soared with joy, and his expression was weird. He even reached out to the symbol on the bottom of Yulin's foot and pinched it hard twice, as if he was afraid that it was a fake pattern drawn by Yulin. This triangular symbol. At the bottom of Yulin's feet, in the center, there is a triangular logo. It's very eye-catching on the bare soles of the feet. The priest, who had been excited for a long time, gradually regained his composure. But the way he looked at Yulin was completely different. It's like looking at a piece of meat and potatoes, and like a prey. Full of fanaticism. Yulin felt that something was very wrong, and she suddenly felt the urge to kill the priest. The priest coughed twice and asked Yulin to put on her shoes. Child, you have the mission of saving the world. Oh. What then? Yulin looked calm and nodded. It was as if he was not on the same channel as the old priest who was so excited that he couldn't help himself, which was in sharp contrast. An ordinary routine. That's right. This is how players should be treated. Successfully transferred to Assassin. Unlock the God's Gift panel. Infinity Throne. Author, by Yi Shueshi. Chapter 341. The priest was still talking. Yulin has no time to open the new function, the God's Gift panel. But thinking about it, it should be related to the professional assassin. How exactly is this career a match? Yulin was confused. According to his perception, 2 of the 5 innate skills he currently possesses may be related to assassin. But the other 3 have nothing to do with the assassins in my impression. But it doesn't matter. Assassin should be pretty good too. Yulin closed her eyes and thought for a while. Although he lost his memory. But the word assassin seems to be connected by his blood, and there is a mysterious connection that makes him feel very comfortable in his heart. That's it? Yulin nodded with satisfaction. The priest continued to talk. You have a great mission on your shoulders. Elaborate. Yulin's heart moved and she inserted the topic tactfully. Your Excellency Auranos. The priest closed his eyes, made a sincere prayer gesture, and said slowly, the fate of the world is intertwined. Perhaps, we are all standing at the key point of the change of the times. The corners of Yulin's eyes twitched slightly, and she asked patiently, can you explain it in more detail? Okay, actually. The priest let out a long sigh, as if he was holding something back in his heart, and he didn't know whether to say it or not. Finally, after holding it in for a long time, the priest couldn't hold it in any longer and finally told the truth. In fact, I do not know. Yulin once again had the urge to kill the priest. But he may not be able to beat it. In this kind of game world, it seems that level is everything. Yulin's current panel is only level 1, so it might not be easy to kill even the mobs on the roadside. So Yulin endured the impulse, clenched her fists, and said expressionlessly, "Then you said so much. Our church in Labutown is just a small church. If you want to know more secrets about the mission of the brave, go to the Izida port in the north of Labutown and look for Priest Gil." Ding! The words just fell. A shining golden exclamation point suddenly popped up above the old priest's head. It turned out that I had been talking for a long time and wanted to release a mission. Yulin suddenly realized. It turns out that the previous lines were all based on procedures. Yulin instantly felt comfortable and casually took over the task above the old priest's head. Except the main mission, the hero's mission. Current mission goal: arrive at the Izida port in the north of Rabtown and meet with Priest Gil. Task difficulty: C. Task time limit: none. Task reward: 6000 G, EXP add 12,000. Yulin tested it in the small church for a while. The old priest repeated only those few lines, and it seemed that there were no other lines. Yulin could only leave the church and open the task panel on the way, carefully considering this new task. Church, hurry, hurry. Right now. A short, slightly fat man walked towards me. In his hands, each hand held a sizzling roasted leg of lamb, which he was crazily stuffing into his mouth, making a sizzling sound and splashing meat juices. The little dwarf passed by Yulin like a wind. Yulin frowned. He glanced back subconsciously. The little man had already run around the corner and was no longer visible. Yulin didn't care either. Perhaps it was because the NPC's hasty lines just now were too down-to-earth, which made Yulin suddenly feel a sense of familiarity. This should be the initial main mission. But the rewards are also extremely generous. Let's not talk about the gold coin rewards. The experience points alone are as much as 12,000 points. It should be enough to upgrade to several levels. However, according to the normal ratio of task difficulty and rewards, this main mission seems very simple, but since it can give so many rewards, the difficulty should be on the way. Unless this is a way for the gold-based web game to give away experience in a different way. As Yulin walked, she began to think about the next step. Think about it? Actually, there's no need to rush this main mission. There is no time limit anyway. In the game, the best thing to do is to level up first. By the way, you can learn more about the mechanics of the game. And those drunkards also mention things like Kyukai and salvage. The worldview setting of this game world needs further exploration. After making up her mind, Yulin went straight out of the city. The guards at the door are still guarding the town gates dutifully. When Yulin passed by, she looked calm and raised the weapon on her waist. When the guards saw Yulin armed with weapons, they did not stop him. With 3 parts of envy, 3 parts of respect, 3 parts of amazement in their eyes, and 1 part of deeply hidden regret, they watched Yulin walk out of the city gate. Regret? What the hell are you sorry about? Yulin vaguely understood the fan-shaped distribution of emotions in their eyes, and was quite puzzled. Could it be that I am over-interpreting it? Before leaving, Yulin stopped by the grocery store and bought a map. The area where Rabtown and Izida Port are located is a place called Gaia. It seems to be the name of the entire continent. The map is not very detailed, and many areas on the Gaia continent are marked unknown. But at the very least, the destination of the main mission, Izida Port, is marked on the map. Port of Izida. Prosperous commercial center and port city. Simple comments are made above. Leaving the city, you are surrounded by green mountains and green waters, warm winds, pleasant climate, and a fresh smell blowing into your face. To be honest, the style of this game is pretty good. Yulin walked along the road, admired the scenery for a while, and then quickly put his mind away. Now is not the time to enjoy the scenery. Yulin took a few steps and opened the props. The props interface in front of Yulin is an 8x8 grid panel. Each prop only occupies one empty space on the panel. There are only 64 squares in total. After Yilin borrowed a bunch of novice weapons from the weapon shop, plus the 5 props he originally brought with him in the item slot, it occupies a total of 13 squares. The price of this item is obviously not enough. Will it be necessary to use a large amount of gold coins to expand the item column later? Yilin complained and took out a compass. Not long after he came to this world, he discovered that he had brought 5 mysterious props in his props column. I don't know what's going on. Maybe this is also a benefit for senior players. As an elite, isn't it normal for you to have a little something at the beginning? Compass is one of them. Yilin took out the compass. The compass looked very old, and the translucent glass was covered with indelible dirt. However, through the glass, you can barely see the direction of the pointer. Not long after Yilin took out the compass, the pointer above was spinning crazily, as if it was broken. Sure enough, this is no ordinary compass. It cannot be used in a normal way at all. After looking at it for a while, Yilin saw that the pointer on the compass had no intention of stopping to guide the direction, so she reluctantly put it away. Although you can't use a compass to tell the direction, you can follow the main road and it's not difficult to reach Izada Port. Yilin looked far into the distance and could vaguely see an erected street sign beside Fengcha Road in the distance. Beyond the road lies a complex wilderness overgrown with weeds. In the place where the weeds are lush, even as high as half a person, there are whizzing and whizzing sounds from time to time. The grass was trembling, as if something was lurking deep in the grass, or it was exercising. According to what is said on the map, if you want to reach Izada Port from Rabtown, you must first follow this road, pass through the Rabu Basin, pass through the Moonlight Jungle, and cross the endless swamp before you can reach Izada, Hong Kong. It looks like there should be several monster spawning areas with different levels. Yilin combined the unsealed knowledge in her mind, and after interpreting the map, she quickly figured out the route to Izada Port. But I'm not in a hurry to do the main mission. Yilin smiled slightly, put away the map and put it in the props column. He silently pulled out the simple dagger at his waist from its short sheath. The small dagger flew flexibly between Yilin's fingers, making cool knife flowers. It seems that I should be very good at this kind of weapon. Yilin remembered the short knife that was slightly longer than a dagger that could not be used for some unknown reason in the items. Unfortunately, this one is the wrong size. It's a little short. The one I'm used to should be longer and thicker. After playing with the beginner's dagger in his hand for a while, and using it skillfully, Yilin shook his head, with a hint of helplessness on his face. Forget it, this is just the beginning. The mobs in the Labu Basin should not be of high level, and they can be dealt with novice weapons. And from the way I play with the dagger, it can be inferred that I should be a senior assassin. Gamers, very, very, very high-end. No matter what monster you encounter, you can kill it with one blow. If one knife doesn't work, then use two. Anyway, it shouldn't be too strenuous. Unless the level gap is too big. Yilin silently speculated on her true character from some details. Combined with various overt or covert clues, as well as some of my subconscious habits. I should be an assassin with a kind personality, a well-proportioned figure, an outstanding appearance, a high-end player. Yilin came to a conclusion. The wilderness is peaceful. Blue sky, white clouds, green land. Full of life. This is a good time to farm monsters and level up. Actually, if the logout button didn't light up, it would be pretty good to stay in this kind of game. Yilin said to herself. But for some reason, when he said this, he felt his chest tightening for no apparent reason. Yilin didn't have time to savor this feeling that seemed to be called heart-wrenching. He aimed at a shadow in the grass and activated his talent skill. Following like a shadow. Using the shadow of the grass, when Yilin approached, the other party showed no reaction at all. When I walked in again, I saw a snake hidden in the rustling grass. If it were an ordinary snake, then this would be an ordinary encounter. But this snake has small wings, its belly does not touch the ground, and it floats in mid-air. Flame Flying Snake. LV2. This game is very considerate. The level of the monster is actually marked. Yilin silently clicked a like. Although Yilin is currently only a pink and cute girl at level 1. But he felt that powerful operations could make up for a certain level gap. Plus he can also sneak attack, so it's not a big problem. After Yilin analyzed it carefully, without saying a word, he raised his dagger and slashed at the flying snake skillfully. This technique seemed to have been refined thousands of times. When Yilin used it, there was no ambiguity at all, and it was very smooth and smooth. Sneak attack successful. -2. On the head of the flaming flying snake, a number representing the deduction of health points popped up. Hiss dash. The flaming flying snake was heavily injured, and the scarlet snake vomited, spitting, and rushed towards Yilin. Yilin smiled slightly, twisted her waist, and was about to dodge. But right now, a ray of light fell from the sky. With Yilin and the flaming flying snake as the center, it spread into a circle of light about 5 meters in diameter. Yilin looked up with an indifferent expression. He suddenly discovered that at the moment the aperture appeared, his feet were out of control and were frozen in place. Above his and the flaming flying snake's heads, there was a shadow similar to a scale floating faintly. Enter the battle. The flaming flying snake is very angry. The flaming flying snake has launched a normal attack on you. -17. Call out. The flaming flying snake really flew over and hit Yilin hard with its head. A number also appeared on Yilin's forehead. It's obviously an order of magnitude larger than the number on the flame flying snake's forehead. Yilin didn't move. It's not that he's showing off, it's that he can't move. Your turn. Yilin was stunned. A full 10 seconds. 10 seconds later. Yilin felt that deep down in her heart, there was something she really didn't want to say. This is actually a turn-based game. Yilin was shocked. He didn't expect that a game world that seemed so advanced would actually use such an ancient turn-based system. Yilin screamed inwardly, you. But now there is no room for Yilin to continue to do this. Because now it's his turn. Under the turn-based system, Yilin had a choice before her eyes. Attack. Skill. Props. Escape. In Yilin's UI vision, a 30-second countdown also appeared. Yilin calmed down instantly. He didn't know why, but the thought of being cheated came to his mind. But who tricked him? Yilin didn't think about it. After all, he had lost his memory. But subconsciously, he felt that the person who had tricked him should be a very scary existence. If I guess correctly, this countdown should be the time limit for selection. After all, no matter how turn-based it is, if I don't make a choice and this monster just stays in place, it would be too unreasonable and unscientific. Yilin raised her head. Directly above the circle of light surrounding him and the monster, a looming shadow of a scale exuded an awe-inspiring and inviolable aura, sacred and solemn. God. Yilin sneered and directly chose the skill. Grasp of Annihilation. At the moment when the skill was selected, a flowing light block was quickly outlined around the flaming flying snake, completely encircling the flaming flying snake. And there are still many places left. Yilin inserted the dagger into her waist and put it away. His right hand was grasped in the air. Fry. The flames of the explosion completely engulfed the flaming flying snake. Explosion is a man's romance. Yilin said a line out of nowhere. -56. Congratulations, you defeated the flaming flying snake. Get gold coins add 3G. Get experience value add 62. Get flame flying snake meat. Instant kill. The flying snake screamed in agony, its tail raised, its whole body twitched, and it foamed at the mouth. When it completely turned into a stream of light and disappeared, the aperture surrounding Yulin and the phantom of the scale above her head finally disappeared. Yulin breathed a sigh of relief. This sudden change made Yulin afraid to go deeper into the grass and quickly retreated to the roadside. I don't know if it's due to the game mechanism, but the monsters in the grass, in Yulin's current field of vision, will not run onto the road for no reason and affect traffic. Yulin squatted on the roadside, like a helpless child. A long time. At some point, a dog squatted on the side of the road. Yulin rubbed her hair. How come there is such a turn-based gameplay? In this case, wouldn't his skillful dagger manipulation skills be useless? The turn-based system is nothing more than paying attention to the matching of skills, equipment, and props, and using tactics rationally, so that even with a weak hand you can succeed. This turn-based system is completely the nemesis of high-end operators. Woof. Yulin was very helpless. Woof. Yulin raised her head. In fact, he had already noticed a dog with snow-white hair squatting next to him, and he looked pretty good-looking. Although this dog's smile looks a bit arrogant. But no matter how arrogant and domineering a dog is, he is still a dog. Yulin confirmed that there was no level prompt on the dog's forehead like a monster, so it was probably not a monster that could be brushed. So Yulin ignored it and squatted alone thinking. But after he finished thinking, the dog was still stuck in the same place, with no intention of leaving, so Yulin was ready to interact with the dog. Is it some kind of mission? Looking for a lost owner or something? But this is a dog. Looking for its owner, aren't dogs much better than humans? Thinking of this, Yulin temporarily put aside her entanglement with the turn system and asked casually, "The master is lost?" Woof. Goza shook his head. Can you really understand what people are saying? Should I say, it really deserves to be a game world, is everything possible? Yulin somehow found it difficult to be surprised by the outrageous fact that a dog could understand human speech, ever since he discovered that the combat mechanism of this game world was actually a cheating turn-based system. It is as if dogs can understand human speech, which is a perfectly normal common-sense cognition. Do you have a mission? Yulin asked again. When Yulin asked a dog for a task straight to the point, Yulin looked at the top of the dog's head. The corner of Goza's mouth suddenly tilted, revealing an unpredictable smile very smartly. Then he shook his head again. Then you can go. Yulin waved her hands. Dog. If it were turn-based, this game wouldn't be played like this. I remember that in the grocery store, there were a lot of medicines for restoring mana and health. If you don't find a way to make money and take drugs, it's not that easy to arrive at Izada port safely. Is this the original difficulty of the mission? Moreover, if it were a real game, it would be fine to resurrect after death and continue playing. But in my current state, I shouldn't be able to die. Once I die, there is a high probability that I will not be able to be resurrected. It's a bit of a trap. Yulin sighed. He casually opened the attributes panel, and even though he randomly killed a mob with a talent skill, that skill was Grasp of Annihilation. Type active, combat, range. Consumption 120 crystal energy. Restriction put away weapons. Effect lock a 2x2x2 cubic meter cube space area and produce an explosion of unknown power. The casting distance and blast power are related to level and spirit. There is a certain chance of triggering the annihilation effect, and the triggering chance is related to the lucky attribute. Although the skills look very awesome. It can kill the flame flying snake, which is one level higher than Yulin, with one shot. But this is a skill that consumes 120 points of crystal energy. This shot directly consumed half of Yulin's blue bars. Yulin's current blue bar is 255, and she can only use 2 shots. He squatted on the side of the road for a long time, and the blue bar representing crystal energy had no intention of automatically replying. In other words, there is no way for this blue bar to automatically reply. Killing a monster consumes half of the blue bars, and the price-performance ratio is really low. Wait, maybe. Yulin thought of the prices in the store and suddenly had a bold idea. Although the idea was bold, Yulin thought about it for a few minutes and felt that the success rate of implementation was high. You have to wait until after dark. Let's level up first. In Yulin's attribute panel, there are only 6 basic attributes: strength, agility, spirit, will, luck, and charm. But in order to convert the basic attributes into attack power and defense power, there seems to be a set of calculation formulas hidden inside, which Yulin can't figure out just from a single battle. Just now, when I used Grip of Annihilation to directly kill the monster, a -56 prompt popped up on the monster. Does this mean that this monster only has 56 health points, or does it mean that my skills caused it? 56 health points. But no matter what, 56 points of damage can definitely kill a level 2 mob in seconds. According to the turn-based RPG routine in my knowledge, this kind of leapfrog killing monsters has a relatively high experience value. The equipment on my body now only has a dagger. This ordinary set of clothes has no attribute bonus at all. It is equivalent to using a whiteboard to carry a leapfrog monster. No wonder the snake killed me directly with a normal attack. 17 points of health. Yulin stood up. He touched the chest that had been hit by the flaming flying snake just now. Suddenly there was no pain there. Do not know why. Does pain recover so quickly in this game? Yulin suddenly frowned and opened the panel and took a closer look. Why is the health value restored, but the crystal energy value is not? Only then did he notice that the health points that had been knocked out by the flaming flying snake had been restored to full. However, the crystal energy value is only about half left, with no sign of recovery at all. Yulin was helpless about this phenomenon. The game world, is there a player's manual for reference? I have to explore everything by myself, isn't it too tiring? Yulin complained and re-entered the grass. The dog that had been panting next to Yulin with a weird smile, for some reason, followed behind him, wagging its tail. Does this dog have a mission? Yulin was puzzled. But for now, this dog showed no other threats except for its weird expression. Yulin could only let it go and did not chase the dog away. Maybe it's some kind of hidden mission? Don't you like doing this kind of Krypton Gold web game? Among my 5 talent skills, in the skill category, Follow the Shadow, Shadow Kill, and Summon Mount Night Dire all have the attribute of map, which should mean that when triggered, Balance is also a map skill that can be used before entering the circle battle. The remaining Disaster-Ridden and Grapple of Annihilation only have combat attributes and cannot be used in non-combat states. When I attacked the flaming flying snake just now, it was in a non-combat state before it discovered me. After I caused damage to the monster, the scale appeared. It seems that the combat state and the non-combat state is determined based on whether the monster finds the player. While Yulin quickly explored and reasoned about the mechanics of this game world, she activated the map skill and followed her like a shadow. After turning it on, Yulin, whose presence is reduced by 100%, quietly sneaks in the grass. Soon, a cute monster appeared in front of him again. Slime. LV1. 2 round, smooth and glowing blue gelatinous monsters were crouching in the grass with their backs to Yulin. If you don't think about it in certain aspects, the posture of this monster is quite harmless. It's a bit hard to deal with a monster that grows like this. An idea just came to Yulin's mind. The beginner's dagger in his hand stabbed one of the slimes involuntarily. It was a righteous backstab. -5. Really? At the same level, Yulin's backstab damage increased significantly. A familiar scene soon followed. The light fell and formed a circle. But the next scene made Yulin stunned for a while. The slimes enclosed in the circle turned out to be 2 lumps. How the hell is this considered a monster in the same team? Faced with this situation of being obviously bullied in terms of numbers, Yulin didn't feel panicked. After all, his current blue bar is still enough for one shot of Grasp of Annihilation. With the goods in hand, Yulin didn't panic. He just felt that Slime's behavior of attacking more and less was a bit unreasonable. But there is nothing to talk about with monsters. Yulin silently raised her hand, preparing to drop a slime in seconds. But right now, Wang Tiandi requested to join the team. Do you agree? Yes/no? Yulin. The skill he was about to release was instantly stuck.